Hey everyone, pardon the difficulties with our technical issues. We were just trying to resync everything after fiddling around with OBS a little bit, so I had to kind of take a moment here and there to make sure it was working okay, but we're good. So, hi everybody, welcome to another Sunday with us here for Ages Past. We'll just do a quick rerun of our characters right here, so we'll go, of course, ladies first. Kayla, who are you?
Oh, goodness. Okay, my name is Kayla, and I am playing Valendra. She is the half-elf, half-tiefling warlock, and she has the cutest little finnicklop in the entire realm. His name is Winnie.
I wonder if he'll ever get a second name, Winnie the something.
Winnie the
Winnie.
repeatedly murdered.
Winnie the
Oh,
Poof?
no!
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good!
And of course, our other player, Scott. Who do you play?
Hello, I play Varka Stormcaller, the Dragonborn Forge Cleric.
Great. And of course, last but not least, Cody. Who do you play?
Cody, I play Rook, the Tiefling Kenku Inquisitive Rogue.
Excellent. Yes. So we have our three adventurers here in the world of Valoran, and they are right now in the city of Alniel. Since we don't have any other sponsors or anything to plug in right now, we'll do other things at the end, but we'll go ahead and just dive right into our recap. So, last we left off, the players had successfully made their way through the Golden Lily Inn and were able to exit on what appeared to be another festive grounds, a very lively place of the city, just with tons of folks going about with merriment and banners all around. Jin informed them that in order to see the actual the Dragon's District, to actually meet the brass dragon broods, they would have to prove themselves worthy. So, in order to do that, he had devised 3 tests for them. The first test was to locate and, obtain 3 keys, silver, gold, and copper, each of which were put into a slightly precarious situation, but the party was successful and able to climb, punch, and spot each of them before they went about the city and were asked riddles and had to solve those quickly within about 10 seconds of time. Luckily, they were able to solve most of them, but those that they didn't solve carried on into the third challenge, as suddenly those who were left in the city square turned into giant animals and began to attack the party to see how resilient they could be to a force assaulting their group. As they successfully thwarted the beasts, then came the final challenge, the little extra surprise of a copper dragon coming into the fight and spewing acid out and pretty much melting and sizzling the party members left, right, and center. Luckily, the Dragonborn, with a interesting sense of humor, decided to slay the beast by pile driving a spirit weapon in the shape of a phallus
I did no such thing.
straight into the dragon's throat.
The internet will forget this.
Oh, I don't think they ever will. That's
Literally
good.
been recorded.
It has been
Yeah.
recorded. It is there for life. But yes. But you were able to successfully slay the creature, although finding out that everything you were facing was nothing more than a mirage, an arcane illusion that, as you had completed the tasks, disappeared, showing that you had actually done most of your trials in the middle of what appeared to be a kind of nice made desert garden filled with sand art gardens and rocky outcrops, almost like a very zen place where nature is allowed to keep its beauty but placed in a way that's aesthetically pleasing. As Jin congratulated you all, he took you deeper past many of the rocky alcoves to a second wall, much taller than the first one you had encountered, and he took you to what appeared to be a solid section that was put with carvings, little archways and runes carved into the side. As he pushed on it with his hand, he beckoned you all to come in, and as you all stepped through the wall, you seemed to phase into it, walking through this hazy gray shadow. And now we come back to you emerging through the wall on the other side. It is still night. It is about maybe 9 or 10 in the evening, so the sky is still lit with mostly starlight and moonlight. But as you exit, you can see that you come across what appears to be a grand common area, a large, oversized display of architecture and buildings just strewn across in a towering way, high up as they rise to the skies, you can see that there are walkways, bridges, and arches that have been built up to about, you could say, 20 feet or so in the air. Each one of them kind of almost like terraces across the buildings. And you can see that occasionally a few humanoids dot these little highways and seem to be walking across and usually using them, as you can see that the main streets, wide, large, and completely open, are filled with dragons. You can see about what it looks to be 2 or 3 at the moment, moving about casually. Some seem to be heading towards the garden itself. Don't really pay you much mind, but as you step to the side for a moment, you see that they also go through the wall, not impeding their form at all, as they just disappear into this smooth, white-gray marble wall. As you look back, you can see that some of the other dragons are going about in this common area, relaxing and lounging. Some of them seem to be chatting with a few of the humanoids. You notice that there is a nice set of waterfalls and greenery off to the right, a little bit more of like a expansive-looking garden, an oasis almost, that seems to be settled into this massive open, slightly open area compared to the rest, which is just piled with tall, cathedral-like buildings. As Jin walks you forward, you seem to kind of keep a little close to him, as it seems a bit daunting to separate. You'd be lost in this giant's maze. But he does look around at all of you, and he kind of gives a bit of a smile and a gesture about, saying, "Welcome! This, my friends, is the Dragon's District. Not many are lucky enough to come in here, you know. I hope you appreciate it."
Rook, if anything bad happens, I'm throwing you to the dragons because you taste more like chicken than we do. Just saying.
I don't think that will be necessary. I mean, I'm suitably impressed, and that's really all most dragons want, right?
You see Jin is smiling a little bit. "Oh, you'll find, my friend, that most of the brass dragons don't tend to eat too much. They can usually supply themselves very well with just the dew that they catch on the leaves in the morning. Very thrifty lot. As for myself, though, I think I would enjoy perhaps a chicken now and then."
Points to Rook.
Oh, God.
Luckily, I'm not a chicken.
You're close.
Lucky that. But for all of you, though, I would recommend that we stay as close as we can and try to avoid talking to any of the brass dragons you see roaming about.
Why?
Well, once you tend to get one talking, it's very hard to stop it from talking, and you'll find that in most cases you'll be bound to listening and chatting with them for about, could be days or weeks sometimes if you're not careful.
I so you.
So perhaps make sure you stay close, as he kind of keeps you as close as he can, and you see that he is almost in a strategic manner guiding you around and giving wide berths away from the brass dragons that are nestled or relaxing in these different locations across the city. Now, mind you, I don't know, I think only 2 of you said that you've been here before.
Yes, but never to the dragon.
Yes, exactly the same.
Right. Well, let me tell you, there's a few things you better keep your eyes out for. Number 1, try to avoid actually walking on the streets themselves. It's not quite as safe as you could potentially be knocked or stomped on. It's not known to happen too often, but it's more of your fault than theirs. So perhaps it'd be better to use the designated highways if you can.
That's the same excuse I use.
But other than that, I would also recommend perhaps that you stay away from the 2 sub-districts off to the east. As he points into that direction, you can see that as you look a little bit, he's waiting for the skyline to break, and he kind of points out these 2 little distinct, almost like walled-off extra districts. Not as tall as the other walls, but about just nicely kind of made and separated. Each of those over there belong to the other broods. And if you find yourself going in there, and they know that you're perhaps in favor of ours, you're more than likely to find yourself, well, not necessarily imprisoned, mind you, but at least perhaps detained as guests. We're civil, of course. We would never try to do anything untoward to you that could harm you, but keeping you fed and well-groomed and entertained, but you're there for a month or 2. No problem.
And of course, in such a way that you can't use, otherwise to be seen as rude and
There's a lot of courtesy involved, and they will try to trap you in etiquette rules, yes. But mind you, as long as you don't offend them with any excuse you might have, you can sometimes excuse yourself if the matter is urgent enough. But of course, those two over there belong to House Durell and House Lien. Each of those are currently high in favor for being the next Grand Brood Mother. But sadly, my mistress, my lady, of House TL, they've recently had some problems and have had their favor fallen for a few months. We need to find ways to bring it back up if we hope to actually win the seat.
And how would you do that?
Oh, usually when it comes to actually gaining the favor of the other brass dragons, you have to accumulate a sense of, well, either you have to show your cunning, or you have to show your vast fortune. Both, if you can do it, will make you very, very favorable compared to the others. In most cases, sometimes, we like to try and see who can one-up the other in their vaults and galleries. The treasuries that we keep on our own are very, very vast and wide, but each of us has our own. So, occasionally, we find that we either run out of treasures to acquire, or we find that it might be easier sometimes to borrow some of our friends' treasures. Typically what we like to do is we like to play a little game of sorts. Nothing harmful, mind you, all in good jest, but definitely a way to show favor among the remainder as who is the better and clever. Sometimes we find ways into our opposing houses' vaults, and when we do, we sometimes claim the treasures for our own, but we only borrow them for maybe a day or so before we return them gracefully to the house. But of course, doing so in a grand gesture and manner to say that we, with our mighty skill and our great renown, were able to return these gifts that were stolen by other individuals, helping boost our favor as those who are able to not only apprehend said thieves, but able to return it graciously to our fellow brass dragon neighbors.
That sounds overly complicated. Can't you just write them a card saying, hey, I want to be your friend, level up our ranking, please?
You'll find that most of us tend to find that living for centuries can get a little boring, so this is a way to pass the time as well, to give us each our own way to show who's the better.
Seeing as I only live for about 80 years, probably maximum, I really couldn't give a flying fuck about how you try to entertain yourself after millennia. I mean, it's awfully stupid.
No, I understand. Your short mindset of the mortals is very different from ours, and we don't hold that against you.
Who are you calling short?
Short lifespan, perhaps a little short of mind, as he kind of looks away from you with that little comment. But
What just happened?
Suffice it to say, my dragonborn friend, if you want to find yourself in good favor with the other houses, it's best to play the courtship games as well as to earn the favor by
I'm not
acquiring
looking
new
for
treasures.
Not that kind of courtship, Farkash.
Ah, okay. The friendly kind, if there is.
The political game.
Ugh.
You see that, by the way, as you are walking, Lulu is still with the party, but she is mesmerized. Just ogling all over the place. Her eyes are wide, and she just is taking everything in. You can see that her own... You could just... If you stared at her for a moment, the gears in her head are turning quite a bit about how she could get favor, or what could she live somewhere here. You can see that just plans within plans are just filing into that brain of hers. But as you kind of walk a little further in, you do spend about a good 10 minutes walking down the colonnades, and you see, as you get closer to the left, oh, someone's hosting us. Yeah.
Oh.
But as you go to the left, you notice that there is a slight difference in the architecture. You can see that you're being taken away from what appears to be the residence of the dragons and more to what looks like a smaller selection of buildings that could still house the dragons, but you can see what appears to be almost apartment-like complexes, higher placed tier buildings that seem to almost have large platforms that, settle at the bottom, and as they stack in a slightly organic pyramid shape, you can see that there are parks, trees, growths and shrubs all across the place, kind of making a sea of green as it builds to the top, and you can see that there are a vast amount of humanoids there, some of which are currently going about, but most of them are indoors with what appears to be faint little pieces of light that seem to pierce through the curtains that are closed on the windows. But you can see that over there, that looks to be where most of the humanoids reside for those who serve in the Dragon District. But Jin takes you to a house not too far away from there. Just off to the right, you can see what appears to be a very nice abode, a large, very large in size, that has about a good almost 40 feet in height and a wide domed roofing that kind of seems to go into the center with a few external arched domes and cut in half segments that seem to scatter around the side, giving it a very Georgian geometric look of beauty and symmetry. As you enter inside, you can see that he opens a smaller door that leads into what appears to be a foyer for humanoid sizes. As you can see, there are placements for people to put their belongings. You can put your shoes out down if you wished, if you wear any, and as well as a few other places to hang coats, place backpacks on the side, and a few things to help clean yourselves off if you happen to have gone through some nasty weather. But as you all take it in and set whatever belongings you wish to aside...
I hang my shield on a coat peg.
Okay, yeah, you totally can do that. And as you walk inside, you see he takes you to what appears to be a nice living room setting. Most of what you can see as decoration in here is organic. There's a lot of very fine woods and polished surfaces with these intricate carvings that look to have more of a woodland and animal theme to them. You can see that there are squirrels that seem to be moving about the fireplaces, mantle around the sides, and what appears to be two large stag heads that have horns carved of actual ivory around the edges. You can see that the fire is just a slight dim glow, giving a nice orange kind of light to the room, a very welcoming atmosphere, as he lets you all sit down on one of these nicely carved, almost Art Nouveau style, with these beautiful orange and blue looking kind of cushions that you can just settle on. Varkesh, you find that as you sit, they are very sturdy, none of which could you break at all. They are built to last.
I can sit down. Glorious day.
And as you each...
Furniture that can fit me.
As you each take your seats, you do see...
I very daintily take a seat, just take my sweet time and enjoying this. This seat is great.
You do see that as you all sit down, Jin just quickly looks around and just goes, "Tea for our guests." Those of you who are magically inclined, make an Arcana check.
Oh, goodness.
Wait, I'm a cleric, so I guess that does count for me too.
You can still do it, yes. You are spell casting, you can cast spells.
I will do an Arcanine check.
Roll 20 is frozen for me at the moment.
Oh no! Does this mean I must roll for Kayla?
Please?
Oh dear, until she can get it unfrozen, Kayla has her rolls given. Let's see, what do we got?
Hey, Rook, you need to... Oh, that's right, you don't do magic.
Okay, here we go. So the Arcana check is a 6. So, sadly for you, you don't really notice. You're just enjoying the room and seeming to just look around. Varkesh, you notice that as he snaps his fingers, there's a slight trail of magic that seems to kind of bleed out and make almost like a silhouette, and then it disappears. But you sense that he made something. Something was created. No.
Is the tea farting magic?
You don't know about any tea, but you do see that he created something and almost an outline of a person appeared for just a split second and then disappeared. And you do hear the sound of soft footsteps just walking away. Eventually, you notice that as you sit and enjoy yourselves and get yourself settled, a tray reappears. You can see with a steaming pot of tea and a porcelain teapot with matching teacups on the sides, sugar, milk, honey, all the assortments with a few little dainty scones, nothing too extravagant or large, but you can see that they're very nicely made. As you see this floating tray set down on the wooden table in the middle, Jin just takes a teacup for himself and pours in a cup and starts to serve himself. You can see he puts in about 3 lumps of sugar, a dash of honey, and a lot of milk. But he does bring it to his own lips.
I will take tea as well.
Rook will take some tea and not add anything. Take a sip.
It's a nice herbal tea, if you'd like. Helps soothe the muscles and calms the nerves. For we have some business to discuss, and I feel it might be best if you do it while you have a cool head.
That's a blue joke.
No. But you do see that as he puts his own tea down, he lets you all enjoy your own cup if you wish. And as you all either choose to or not to have your tea and to sip it, he does look at all of you for a moment, and he looks at the book that you brought to him, and he holds it up and goes, "Do you happen to know the story behind this book?"
Not a clue.
No, that's actually something we were rather interested in, if you have that.
Ah, I thought you might be, especially for one who's so inclined with the arcane. This here is a Necronomicon of one of the great liches during the Age of Reckoning.
Hopefully that word isn't copyrighted.
He puts it down. Goes, "This book happened to belong to Draken the Black."
Draken the Black. What?
Draken the Black?
Draken the Black.
Is this like the name Jim, but it isn't Jim?
You can make a history check if you want to remember who Draken the Black is.
I will.
May I do the same?
Sure, if you wish to recall who Draken is.
Yeah, I would.
Wasn't very...
I mean, he's a
I
lich.
barely remember my own name, apparently.
Would you like me to roll that for you until your thing has refreshed?
No, I got it.
Oh, you got it this time? Okay. Alright. You particularly do know a lot about the liches, and some of the history and the knowledge that you know about it, it's a little eerie because you don't recall when you heard some of this information, but you feel like you just know it instinctively without actually needing to recall it. But you do know that there were 4 great liches that existed in the world: the black, the green, the red, and the white. Each of the liches came from 4 different sections of the continent, and each amassed their own strength and army during the time of the Age of Reckoning. Draken the Black, however, he was the one who was the most ruthless. He emerged from the north, in the valley between the 2 grand peaks that go across that part of the land. He built up a large army and started to experiment and convert a lot of the creatures into more abominations. He was the one responsible for creating wights, vampires, ghouls, and other creatures that were more than just the living undead. So he was the one who pushed most of civilization to the brink of extinction as he had his armies set forth all the way back into Alniel and Trilak, each of which completely overrun until, at the time, he was fortunately slain by one of the great heroes of Alniel. This was a female elf named Cylindril. Cylindril sadly had to sacrifice her own life in doing so, but she was able to kill the lich. He was the only one to be successfully killed, and as he was killed in the process, the other 3 liches retreated in fear for their own life to make sure that they would not also suffer the same fate. And when he holds the book, you know that this is actually, in a sense, the wizard's spell book for this lich.
Are you a good lich or a bad lich? That's what I guess in my head at the moment.
Do I recall any type of, like, I don't know, crest or symbol or anything like that dealing with Draken the Black?
Symbols, or you mean like iconography associated with him?
Yeah, like some kind of like branding or like symbol like his army members would wear.
No, he didn't seem to, from your information. You have no idea about if he had any kind of icon or anything. You know he came from a specific kingdom that has been lost in name. You don't recall that one specifically. He never marched with a banner. He did dress in black. The liches were known for their attire, in a sense, each of them having a kind of almost symbolic look to them, and he was almost like a shade, a wraith, a black creature that had nothing just but wispy clouds of ash and these veils of dark just kind of obstructing his entire visage, and his hands and all of his body parts were also blackened to nothing more but just like skin and bones, as if they had just decayed and frostbitten, but they had stuck to the skin.
Okay.
So does the Lich sound familiar to you, Valindra?
Yeah, the name rings a little bit of a bell. He was the most powerful of the Liches from back in the days of the Reckoning. He's actually the only one that died, though, if I recall correctly. The others had to retreat, right?
That's correct, lass. You seem to know your history about the Liches fairly well.
Apparently so.
Were they a topic of fascination for you growing up?
Not growing up. I've put in a little bit of time studying them, trying to figure them out. I don't know. Something about them just really caught my attention.
Oh,
Well-
yes? And what might that be, Valindra?
Tell us.
It's kind of a long story. We can get into that later if you want to, but it's also terribly boring. So
Right you are, lass, for there is a lot to discuss before the evening's out. But this book here, this belonged to my lady's vaults. This was kept secure down in our own galleries for protection as well as for, well, renown, as we were able to hold such a priceless, albeit dangerous, artifact. But as you have returned it to us, we are able to recover some of our lost favor among the broods. Fortunately for ourselves, but at the same time, it still raises so many questions. When you brought this back, you said that you were chased by a creature of some sort. Was it a vampire?
Yes, we were accosted by a vampire up there.
No, it was not a vampire.
It very clearly was.
It wasn't. It was a person bitey thing. That's all it was. It wasn't a vampire.
that's what a vampire is. But
It is?
normal people don't go around biting other people and sucking their blood. No, that's not very common.
Is that not what you normal people do?
Unless you're a leech, my boy, I don't think it's quite natural.
I am reading the wrong books, I fear.
There were certainly some other indicators, too, like the rain seemed to partially scar his visage, and come daylight...
I thought you just didn't like being clean.
It does seem to be quite interesting at that. If you say a vampire was chasing you, perhaps a vampire was responsible for the actual book's thieving. He kind of pauses for a moment and looks around. It could actually quite explain a few things. But we shall take that into precaution for our further defenses of this artifact, as he puts it down.
There's something I think may be worthy of note. When we found the book initially, it had actually been in the hands of a man who was using it. It wasn't a vampire of any sort.
There was
They
a
had
man, you say. What did he look like?
What did he look like?
Well,
Make a history check.
He stood at normal, non-impressive 8-foot height. He didn't have any horns.
22.
Okay.
He wasn't
You both
scared.
recall him very well, and you can also just describe the details to him as Jin just listens intently and goes, I know of no individual who matches that description, but it's interesting. But you said he was human.
Yes, so far as we could tell. He certainly died as a human might.
Curious.
Wait, did he die as a human, Mike? Because I think the only human we killed became bone dust.
He did die like a human.
Okay, fair enough.
I personally witnessed it, being the one who
There was
shot him in
only,
the head with a crossbow bolt.
there was only a normal mortal body that was brought back to speak with dead for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
But yes. As you recall most of the details to him and just do a quick recount of it, he does seem to nod at your stories and listen intently. Goes, right, it does seem that there are a few things that we should take into account for this, and I'll be sure to put this in so that we don't have this happen again. However, this has gone on for at least a week now, and because of this, we have already lost so much in the favor of the court that I don't know how well we'll be able to recover from this. But perhaps this is where you three might be useful in helping regain some of our favor for the TL house.
I mean, I am quite useful. I don't know about these two. Can you guys make anything? I can't remember.
Varkesh.
Apparently they can't make anything.
We can help.
Well, crafts...
They can help. They can help.
That's very good. Yes, craftsmanship is one thing, perhaps, depending on what you can fabricate for your own means. I'm not sure. Are all of you skilled in anything besides just adventuring? You said that you can craft something yourself, Mr. Varkesh.
Are you asking me to craft something?
I'm
Are you
asking what your
asking me to
skills
be
are.
amazing?
No, just what are your skill sets?
I will tell you something a little bit about me, my friend. I am capable about literally making anything. If you want it, I can make it. If it doesn't exist yet, I will probably go, "What's that?" and make it.
Are you an avid whittler?
What you call me?
A wood carver?
A wood. I've dabbled.
I take that as a no.
I've dabbled. I
So,
mean, I make weapons.
Are
and
you
weapons.
are you a cobbler? Are you a potter? What are you?
I am a blacksmith by original trade, and I am also a very skilled gem crafter and jewelry maker.
Oh well, those will be very nice for making the sparkly treasures.
Yes.
Mind you, my dragonborn friend. Though gems and coin are beautiful in their own mind, most of the brass don't tend to enjoy plain treasures as such. We prefer to have a bit more artistry and flair, and sometimes, if you can happen to find it, the most rare treasures that a brass dragon will love are those that can converse with them, or at least entertain them. Those treasures are the best.
Wait. I might need to talk to you in private.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and set ourselves aside for the moment. But before we do that, for the rest of you too, do either of you have any skills besides your adventuring?
No, not really.
But
I'm
no
a-
shame in that, lass.
I'm a talented courier and an expert in exploration, but not much beyond that.
Well, good. I suppose at least your skills in surveillance and espionage might be useful to us, as well as your skill in the arcane, dear, because sometimes there are things out there in the world that we need to know if they are magical or not. You might be at least more inclined to discern those. But as it is right now, for us to regain some of our status, we need to do a few things to try and drop them down the peg, as well as to bring ourselves back up. Now, recently, as fortune would have it, I was able to stumble across one of the vaults of the other brass dragons. I believe it belongs to the Lien house. For as you know, our kind, as he kind of puffs himself and shrugs a little bit, we're quite good at digging and finding things that are buried deep under the grounds.
Just very, very quickly, Andrew. I don't mean to cut you off. Is anyone else hearing Andrew speak at normal volume, then all of a sudden he explodes in volume and then drops back down again?
I'm mostly hearing it happen from you, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
This is unusual.
Technology. What can you do?
Anyway, do continue.
There he goes. I believe that I found a way into the Lien vaults. Now, mind you, going inside the vaults is one thing, but bringing back treasure without being caught is another. So, we'd like to send those who have the skills to go inside, perhaps, and acquire them for us. Now, mind you, some of you might be thinking or asking, why don't we grab them ourselves? Well, I'll tell you, quite simply. Dragons have a great magical essence about them. We are literally living with this essence inside of us at all times. And every time we come in contact with something, we tend to leave a bit of our own essence as an imprint on wherever we go. And if they were to find that any of the other houses, or even myself, were to acquire their treasures and attempt to present them back to them as if we had stopped the thief, it's quite obvious to the rest of them that we were the ones who took them in the first place. So we like to employ those who don't have as much magical essence bleeding from them, such as adventurers like yourselves.
But don't adventurers leave a funky stank on their treasures too?
The treasures themselves won't have too much of a scent on them from you just handling them, and at the same time, the brass dragons aren't necessarily that keen at discerning between one humanoid scent to another. Having at least a creature that isn't dragon apprehend their treasures They won't necessarily know who did it. They just know that someone took it, and we returned it. But of course, we know the true measure of the game amongst ourselves. We just don't delve deeper. We know the meaning. We're clever enough to understand. But at the moment, I have, at least from what I've gathered, listening in on the tunnels, that there is a time when those who patrol their little labyrinth leave from this sector for quite a few hours. I believe that is the best time for us to acquire some of their goods. Now, from what I can gather, the next opening for us to go and try to take these is in 3 days' time from now. So, if you be willing and wait in here for 3 days, we shall be able to venture down into the tunnels and actually acquire some of the Lien treasure, which we can use to help boost TL's favor. What say you?
Is there a item in particular you're wanting us to take, or just...
I'm afraid I don't know what items are in there. I haven't actually pushed past the wall itself. I've dug to the point that I can hear the whisperings and the tremors underground, but I've never penetrated the walls. For if I were to penetrate, they would notice it on their next route, and would immediately change and have their own copper dragons redig new tunnels and shift their treasures to other places. It's a constant game of back and forth. There's no one set place for them to always be. So we have
Well,
to be
you certainly piqued my interest, but I suppose my main concern here is that that sounds as though it is something that comes at great risk to us, and I haven't heard speak of much of a reward.
Well, I will admit there are some risks involved should you not be careful or quick enough to escape with all the
Well, I'm
treasures that you
concerned
grab.
about myself, but our cashier is rather heavily outfitted and quite noisy.
What'd you call me? Did you just call me heavy? That's incredibly rude.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily take weight as a rude remark, but
I'm very sensitive about my weight.
You are wearing heavy armor, that is all that I'm saying.
He's hurting my feelings again. Someone please stop.
perhaps we'll just leave that to the side for the moment. But I can assure you, if you're able to do this for me, a favor for a favor, I can happily provide you with other things that you might wish to acquire yourselves. And as he does say that, Lulu immediately puts a hand on his lap and goes, "Darling, I think there are a few favors that we would be happy to earn." And you see her kind of rubbing the leg a little bit. Perhaps
Is she trying to jump the bones of a copper dragon?
you can see that she is doing what
That's
she does
ambitious.
best, but she does seem to kind of lean and goes, "Perhaps we might be able to arrange future favors for some more, well," she kind of like looks a little bit off to the side, just lets it hang there, and he kind of looks at her for a moment. "Oh, you're a bit of a hands-on one, aren't you? Well, that's fine. Perhaps," as he kind of picks up the hand and puts it back in her lap, "perhaps we'll think about what you might earn for later, but for now, we should go with what we have at least, and from there we'll renegotiate."
Lulu,
She looks at you and goes, "Yes, darling."
if you're going to blow smoke, do it outside.
She just kind of gives a little tiny moment of a glare, just going, "Darling, everywhere I go, I bring nothing but the most exquisite line of trading goods and services."
You have no scruples, madam.
She certainly brings the heat.
You see her she just goes to the teacup and just takes one and just starts to sip it while looking at you.
Does she take like a shark-like bite out of the porcelain?
No, but you do see that is that moment of like no breaking the stare and just guiding it gently and then putting it back. She's just staring at you. Jin just kind of taps his knees a little bit with his fingers, just going, "Right. Well, now, besides your own internal dilemmas, perhaps, would you still be interested in this venture?"
As I said, I'm interested.
I mean, we're not going to have a dragon all of a sudden come in and go, "Ooh, I'm going to chew you bastards up," type situation, are we? Because I would like to avoid being chewed up.
"I think we can avoid you being chewed up anytime soon, as long as you're quick and able enough to get out of this vault.
Quick? Yes. Able? Maybe.
Besides that, I won't be able to give you much in terms of aid necessarily at the moment, but I can assure you, as long as you are out within, I'd say 2 to 3 hours or so, possibly 4, I'll have to double check. I'll be going and exploring in to see what I can tell. But you have at least quite a few moments to grab whatever you can, and when you probably hear danger lurking or you feel that you have enough, you can easily leave the chambers and be fine, no one the wiser. I will seal up the tunnel afterwards behind us, and I will make sure to bury the tracks so no one can trace it back to us.
I have to ask a question. The weird items you and your kind are after. I'm currently working on a little project. I would like to talk to you after this about potentially maybe seeing if you would be interested and if what I'm working on could be advantageous for our party in the future.
You keep dancing around it. Go ahead and make a persuasion check for me.
I'm not revealing anything yet.
That's what I've already seen.
15.
He looks at you and kind of goes, "All right, you've intrigued me a little bit, fine. If there is no other business for the rest of you, I will, for the moment at least, adjourn with your friend here to see what he is crafting." He kind of looks at you with
Yes, crafting. And I just look at Rook and Valindra going, "You're never going to know."
Whatever, that's fine. In terms of lodging, is that something that you will provide financial aid for, or will we have to cover that ourselves?
He looks at you and smiles. My dear lass, you can stay here with me in the protection of my own abode.
That is quite the favor.
It is also a reassurance to make sure that you stay within a safe place, at least. For I don't know what prying eyes might try to find you out back in the city district, since you said you had a vampire after you. I wouldn't trust your safety out there among the commons. Inside here, at least, in the Dragon District, there's a greater chance that you shall be secure and safe from any other outside forces. But mind you, you are here in the Dragon Districts, and I must warn you, it's not dangerous for your life, but there could be other things that might prove harmful to you if you aren't careful. But we shall leave those traumas for later.
Like those Gnome's witnesses. I hear they're deadly.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Kayla?
Can we come and go as we please, or is it kind of like a house arrest situation?
Well, of course you can come and go as you wish, but in order to pass through the walls, you'll need a dragon to help you get through, and I will be happy to provide that service, but I might be escorting you wherever you go in the commons, just to make sure there's no trouble.
Seems a reasonable request for me for the moment.
Okay.
Very good. I have rooms for you upstairs. If you want to go ahead, you can freshen up, or you can pass the night away in peaceful sleep. But I leave that down to each of you, of course, as I shall attend to your friend here and his proposition, as he stands up for a moment and just beckons Varkesh to follow him out a little bit.
I follow.
Okay.
I'd like to look around and see if anybody's watching us right now.
From the general perceptive glance that you can see, there is no one else inside the room except for you, Lulu, Valindra, Varkesh, and Jin.
I'm going to wait for them to go through a door, flip my hood up, and follow.
Okay, so you're going to try to sneak by. Alright, go ahead and make a stealth check with advantage. Okay.
19.
Alright, as you walk along, you do see that as you get to the hallway, you notice that Jin is walking. He pauses for a moment, but he keeps going. He doesn't stop, but he does turn a corner towards another door. But as he gets around to the door, you see him do this. And as he does, he enters in the door with Varkesh, and you see the door shuts behind. And as you get closer to the hall, you bump into something. There's a weird force in front of you, and as you put your hand into it, it's almost like you're touching a person. There's this invisible thing blocking you from reaching the door. It just looked like you could feel pecs and arms. You don't see anything, but you feel this weird figure.
Keep groping. Keep
Right,
groping.
I'm already done. I'll just turn around and go back to the room.
Okay, you head back to Valindra and Lulu. Lulu, you can see as you return, has already pretty much finished her tea, and she is just starting to stretch and just kind of going, I don't know about you darlings, but I could do with some beauty rest, if you'll excuse me. As she turns and looks around, she does find what appears to be a set of stairs that lead up into another part of the actual home, and you see her just turn in for the evening.
How much do I know about the brood of teal and the brood of Leon?
Make an intelligence check. Well, I mean, at the moment, you're just kind of a little dazed, and your thoughts are, you're still probably thinking more along the necro, the book in front of you, and, well, not in front of you, but the book that was there, and some of it's past, the things that you know that you don't know how you know, but you know, and it's kind of a disturbing thought. You don't really think much beyond them.
Was there like any sort of reaction or anything like that whenever the name was mentioned? Did I feel any kind of like, I don't know.
No internal thoughts, nothing inside you. No, you didn't feel any difference.
Just checking.
Yeah. But yeah, so both of you, are you turning in for the evening?
First, I'd like to see if there's any more tea left in the teapot.
Oh, there is.
Okay, I pour some more out, glance over at Valindra, studiously ignore her, and sip my tea.
Okay.
I will enjoy the peace and quiet, sit and drink tea as well.
All right. As you do pour the tea, you can make a perception check. You wouldn't have noticed this the first time around, but you might notice it now.
The teapot is speaking to you.
19?
Rook, you do notice this. The teapot doesn't feel any less empty than it was before. It almost seems like the amount of liquid that is inside the kettle is the same amount, the same volume. No matter how much you pour into the cups, you still feel like there's the same amount in the pot.
I got magic teapot. Okay.
Tale as old as time.
Ah,
Can be.
But yes.
yeah, just sitting and enjoying tea, I think is what we're going to do for a little bit.
Okay, so you sit and enjoy your tea. Varkesh, while you are enjoying your tea, by the way, I just want you all to know that successfully finishing the day, you all have leveled. So at this time, while Varkesh does some of his things, you can roll for your hit points. Varkesh, you can do this too if you'd like. You may roll. If you get lower than the average, you may take the average as health, because we are a party of 3, and currently that is a very tiny party, and you need all the health points you can get. So, all right, Varkesh, that's I think that's just one above the. Oh,
Hey, there we go.
There you go. But yeah, Varkesh, let me see that, because the average for a D8 is a 6. Oh, you rolled the average. Ooh.
Yeah. And plus, I get +2 because I have tough.
Indeed, but yes. Yeah. For Lindra, you definitely get to re-roll. Actually, it's a nat 1. Nat 1s are re-rolls.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the worst thing. But yeah.
Ooh.
All right, that you rolled a 5, so you can take the average instead, which I believe for a D10 is 6 or 7. I can't remember.
It's 6.
6.
That puts me at exactly 100 HP.
I have exactly 69.
All right. Someone's got the magic number. But yes, Varkesh, as you head over to Jin, are you wishing to keep this secret in private, or are you wanting to do it out
In private.
Okay, so like, no, all right, so we won't even share. All right, but I do know what you're giving at the project, and so you're wanting to. What do you wish to propose this to Jin in a way to have him do what?
To be a benefactor, to supply me with materials, and in repayment of that, I will give him a piece of what I'm constructing.
Okay.
Hopefully, that would help boost his station within the dragon community. But what I need are loads of bags of small, very, very small, uncut gems, like a hoard of gems, and I need a powerful magical gem. And I show him also my manual, the burnt manual I got when I obtained my amulet from my deity.
Okay, all right. With all those things combined, and the fact that you are slightly poking at what is a very favored point, there's a key. Go ahead and make your persuasion check with advantage, since you are divulging everything.
Wish me luck.
Good luck.
Did I hear a little cat chat?
There's a tail still.
You are hearing my cat tie-dye. She is.
That was adorable little cat chat.
Yeah, there she is. Or she. All right, an 8.
Yep.
Okay, so he does look at you and goes, he does seem to be interested in what you said, but he does want to see proof of this. He's curious to actually see you. He doesn't even know if you're capable of making this at the start, so he is curious to see if you could do that.
Without saying in words what it is, I just take out a few examples of what I'm creating and place them on the table for him to look at.
Okay. He does admire the craftsmanship, but he is curious to see if you even have the reserves of magic to be able to even do this. He doesn't know if you have the skills to even bring that forth. But you did just level, all of you did. So you do unlock, I believe at level 9, you do get your spell slots.
Yes.
So you do have your spell slots. Valindra, you change up your spell slots as well. If you need to research and do your things, go ahead and do that now. But yeah, so do you wish to demonstrate?
There would be no point in demonstrating my magic because it would burn my spell slots and I need them to be able to work.
Okay. Do an Arcana check for me.
Okay.
Because instead of choosing to burn one, you're trying to prove that you know. He sees that you understand the gist of it. And he looks at you from and goes, he'll provide you...
Never put me on Shark Tank. Never put me in Shark Tank.
He'll provide you with some of the materials. However, if you're unable to deliver the required promise, he will take back everything that he invested in you. So he seems to have this moment of like, it's no real risk to him that if you choose to attempt this and fail, he'll still get everything back. So it's basically like, sure, if you wish to try this out, you may try, but for the moment, I have no real belief in you.
Okay, that's fair. So long as so he's definitely going to provide me with the materials I asked for.
He does. But yes, he does. He does say that he will get you those. He does ask what you specify all the specific gems and things you need.
I need a large bag. These are all very, very tiny gems, mind you, though things that would decorate within a ring or a cluster. I would like a bag of diamonds. I would like a bag of rubies. I would like a bag of emeralds. I would like a bag of sapphires. I would like a bag of topazes and a bag of citrines and probably small opals if you can manage it. I know it's asking a lot, but I assure you, my friend, that it will be worth it.
He just pretty much is shrugging at you. By the way, the room that you're in with him is a grand study, a very large... You can see this is probably what one of the dome sections in the actual building are with the half dome in. The ceiling is one full half circle, and you can see above, it looks to be a star chart completely made in blue purple paint with little white dots marking out the heavens. And you can see that the entire room that you're in is a very nice looking study. You can see that there are books around this circular place built into bookshelves, and you can see that there are a few other almost kind of intriguing and scientific in nature looking tools such as globes, telescopes, measurement devices, and other things to kind of tinker and experiment with. But as you do bring this up, he just kind of is just nodding, going, "Oh, lad, to me that's nothing but a drop in the sea," as he just says, "I'll get this to you shortly. If you'd like it, I can put it in your room for the moment, as long as you promise not to leave with any of these materials from this house."
No. I will be working diligently for however long we are here for. And also the gem of power, if you can provide one that could actually...
He kind of looks at you for a moment and goes, "Those in particular are very valuable. Now, I can provide you with one, but remember, if any funny business happens with it..."
You can eat me.
Fair enough, as he just puts his hand out for you to shake.
And I shake his hand. If I do anything ne'er-do-wellic or criminal, you by all means have permission. Verbal contract is binding still legally. You have permission to chase me down and eat me like a bunny rabbit.
I think that's a fair enough arrangement, as he just shakes
Just
your
make
hand.
it quick. I don't do the whole, please don't. I just do it quick.
I'll be sure you won't see it coming, as he just gives
Okay.
like a little wink and a smile. But if you retire to your room for the moment, if you can spare me about an hour or so, I'll get you what you need.
Okay.
And as
I get
you,
up and I try and walk, and I no doubt probably walk into the wall because it's not unlocked.
well, as you actually walk through the door, you do bump into an unseen force for a moment, and you're just kind of like, "What the hell?" He's saying, "Oh, sorry, forgot to say. Part the way, boys." As you then feel the
Boys.
air part, and you kind of feel forward, the force is gone.
If I had hair, it'd be waving in the wind.
But you are able to pass through the doors and out. Valindra and Rook, it's up to you if you had already chosen to go to sleep at this time, or if you wish to do anything for yourselves. You can do anything you like. You just let me know.
I'm just gonna drink tea.
After I finish my cup, I'm going to set it down, look to Valindra, shake my head, and go up to my room.
Wait, what is that supposed to mean?
Well, I don't know. What is it supposed to mean?
I
I'm
mean,
just gonna follow him and ask him, what is that supposed to mean?
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
The head shake. The head shake, Rook. What is
The head shake? Are you seeing things?
No, I am not seeing things. Did I do something wrong?
Not that I can think of. Of course, I do seem to be very forgetful nowadays.
Okay. Well, then, I hate this group. Group.
Anyway, do you require anything else, Valindra? I do think I should get some sleep.
No, nope. Okay. Good night. I'll go to bed.
Okay. All right. So as you two head to your own rooms, you see that there is a hallway that just has what you see a slew of doors that you each can go through, and they're all decorated the same as places for guests to sleep for the night. Each of you are able to take one to yourselves. Varkash, when you go to your one, eventually you can see that there is you can hear on your door, and you open it, and you can see there standing is Jin. And he does bring out what appears to be... You just open the door and do this?
Yep.
Alright, well, he'll just look at you for a moment and go, I think you've got the wrong impression for what I'm here for, but either way...
Yes, I'm sorry, I thought you were Rook.
Right! Good to know. Here, as he just hands you the sack, it looks to be a nice kind of almost, like the size of a melon, and you can see that inside he just has... You can feel the gems. He goes, I didn't bother to count or do anything for seeing what cut and size would be best for you. I leave that for you to sort out as your own.
It's like a really heavy bag full of gems.
It is it literally like a honeydew melon. It's about like that big, and you can see that as you open inside, there is a multitude of many gems. Most of which are the ones you requested, but some are different kinds. You can see there's like a few onyxes, a ruby, a sapphire, an emerald. There's just a slew. He tried to grab most of them, but you see he just probably did this and just and put it in. But he does leave that for you. He says, I leave it for you to organize and sort which ones you want. But the other gem, as he reaches into another pouch, he pulls it out. You see that this one is very special. The iridescence of this gem is almost brilliant because there is no light source to give itself its shine, but it seems to almost glow with an inner fire. And as it sparkles like a star, he hands it to you.
Ooh! And I take it.
He goes, now, remember, if there is anything that happens to that gem, and there's no way for you to pay me back on that.
You will eat me like a bunny.
Good. And he just kind of gives a smile. Glad to see we have an understanding, as he just waves you off and starts to walk back away.
I say jokingly as he walks away, I won't go down easy.
Perhaps if I strip you and cook you on a spit.
I'll have a phallic friend join me.
What?
Well, we can bring your bird friend too if you'd like, but that's down to you.
Actually, I think he'd like, no, I'm not going to say any more in case he hears me through the doors. Good night, Jim.
Jin.
Jim.
It's gin, lad. Gin.
That's what I said, Jim.
No, try it with an N.
It's
We'll go over this in the morning.
Jim.
You see, he just kind of is continuing to go. He's not going to try and play the game of words with you right now.
I just close the door and go, how rude.
But yes, you all do turn in for the night. If you wish to do anything at this point between your rest and your wake up, yes, Rook, do you wish to do anything?
I'd like to spend some time looking through my room to see if I find anything that might indicate we're being observed.
Oh,
over
okay,
here.
sure. Make an investigation check as you kind of poke and prod around the room.
I
Okay,
could just-
now something to your discretion here. That feat that I just picked up at 9th level, Steady Eye, grants advantage on wisdom perception or intelligence investigation checks if I move no more than half my speed on the same turn.
All right,
Would
so
you-
you can make that with... Yeah, you
I've
can make
never
it with
heard of that.
advantage as you just do your version of detective work as you inspect everything closely. All right. There is no indication of anything that could be a means to spy on you. There's no holes in paintings. There's no hollowed walls. You tap on the frames to see if any of them make a different noise. They seem to be the same, but for the most part, you can tell that the rooms are secure, quiet, and plain. There doesn't seem to be any nefarious
And at
underlining.
that point, I'm going to take a slightly longer than really necessary amount of time and then go over to Valindra's room and knock on it.
What the hell?
Okay. All right. So, I mean, you can wait an hour or how long do you wish to wait?
I'm going to wait a full hour and a half, 2 hours.
Okay. Valindra, would you have gone to bed at this point?
I'd probably be about to go to bed.
All right. So you're
I think-
lying in bed with your
Yeah, playing with Winnie.
you're probably at that point where all lights are out. You're ready to close your eyes, and then you just hear this intrusive.
Pecking on the door.
Ah!
Like a little
I will get
woodpecker.
I'd like to be hiding from the side of the door when she opens it.
Oh, okay. All right. Make a stealth check. Make a stealth check.
Whoops, wrong tab. A moment.
Okay, 18. 18. All right. So you knock on the door. Valindra, you go to answer it, and you open it, and there's no one there. The hall is dark. But you turn... Go ahead and make a perception check with advantage because it is an open hallway.
Mhm.
It's one of those initial surprises where you don't see anyone at first, but you can start looking around. Okay, I mean, at the moment, you don't. You just kind of overlook him. He's squatting down very close to the ground,
I'm
like a little
gonna close
gargoyle.
the door.
Okay.
And
I will wait 30 seconds and then knock again.
Okay.
as soon as I get in bed, too.
Yeah, so pretty much right when you get back to it, you hear once more the woodpeckering of the...
Oh, get back up, and I'll open the door.
Okay.
And this time I'll be standing right there.
Alright, as you see, Rook is standing there.
Hello, might I come in?
Okay.
Thank you. And I'll come in and start searching her room just as I did my own.
Okay, you can make an investigation check with advantage as you see him begin to slowly walk around.
Only 15 this time.
The room seems clear.
What are you doing?
Just making sure no one's listening in. I do apologize for not speaking to you earlier, but we were in a relatively public location, and I don't know who might be listening in. I searched both your room and my own thoroughly, though, and it doesn't look like anybody's watching us. So, something about you seems to be tied to the undead, and we've been attacked by vampires.
Okay, I know you want answers, but honestly, I don't have any. I really don't.
She's lying, I say through the wall.
Apparently, we are being listened to. You truly know nothing about any of this?
Nothing. I feel like I just have more questions, honestly. I don't know why the vampire was following us. I barely know anything about the book. I know who wrote it, but I couldn't remember it a while ago, and then I suddenly remembered it. I don't know what's going on. Honest. I mean, ask me anything. I don't
Well,
know.
when did this sort of thing start happening?
With the undying stuff? I mean, like, honestly, I don't know. When was the first time I encountered undead? Well, I guess...
Ooh, the first time. Winnie.
It's something that I've experienced for a while, but it hasn't really been an issue until recently. So I don't know what's causing it.
Nothing changed before it began? Nothing new entered your life? You didn't pick up any strange objects or find another book similar to the one that we were working with there?
Are you talking about when I started experiencing these things, or?
Yes, certainly. When you started experiencing all these things with undeath and...
Well, yeah, things don't just happen. Okay. You are not magically inclined.
Well, certainly I make no secret of that.
Okay. So Barkesh gets his magical abilities by a deity, by a god. I have a sponsor of sorts.
And is that why you were looking for those books, then?
Yes.
Did you come across anything that might help you figure this out?
I have found nothing, which is shocking.
Oh, no, I certainly agree. I mean...
To be fair, I don't really know what I'm looking for. Like I said, I just have more questions. I don't even know its name.
But you mentioned the name. You mentioned the Quiet One.
That's a name that I sort of just started calling him myself. Thought I was being very clever because he always whispers. I thought I was being particularly clever, but then
Free real estate.
the man we encountered that originally had the book said that he also served the Quiet One. So I don't know. Maybe he put that name in my head. Maybe it's what he wants to be called.
That is a concerning turn of events, but very well, I believe you. I believe you don't truly know what's going on here. It is an interesting situation, and I get the feeling you're still not telling me everything, but I don't expect you to. I understand we don't know each other very well. But my curiosity is satisfied. And I am sorry for being as petty as I had.
It's fine, I guess. I would have questions too. So it makes sense. But yeah, like you said, we don't know each other that well, so that's kind of why avoiding the questions as long as I could. Even I would get tired of avoiding it, but
Certainly. No. What do you think our chances are with this mission for the dragon?
I've seen our skills. I think we're pretty capable. If worse comes to worse, I can dimension door out. And he said if you're caught in the lair of a brass dragon, or copper dragon, he'll just kind of talk your ear off.
Brass dragon.
Brass dragon. I know my dragons.
That does certainly seem to be the case. Should that come to pass, please don't leave Varkesh. I'm afraid his loud mouth will get himself in much worse situations than what you or I might find ourselves in.
Yeah. Probably true. That's probably true. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, I will keep an eye out for anything that might mention something going by the Quiet One in the future. And, who knows? Maybe with 2 eyes looking for it, we could find it. Or 4 in my case.
Also, keep an eye out for this, and I'll show him the mark on my arm. That appears.
Oh, all right. You see what appears to be 2 dots and a horizontal line with 3 vertical lines piercing it.
Okay, I'll take that mark in and commit it to memory. and just nod and say, okay, I'll keep an eye out for that. And for now, I think I am going to actually get some sleep now.
You're not gonna wake me up again, are you? Because I was.
No, I'm not going to wake you. I'll leave you to it. Good night,
Next
Philip.
time, you get one knock, and then I just don't answer anymore.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. And I'll close the door and lock it behind him and then go.
Okay, all right. So you turn in as Rook. You also choose to turn in.
No, I go knock on Varkesh's door.
Okay. This is after an hour, Varkesh. This has been an hour and a half or so. Of you actually been 2 hours because he said he waited for and talked a bit. Have you been doing anything in this time?
I would have been working.
Okay. What have you would have been doing exactly?
I would have been using all my channel divinities to get some little tidbits of my work done. Then I would have been using my fabricate spell to do some mass production, and then then just continuing by hand at the most part.
Okay.
And then, when needed, and if it works out to in terms of the order of how I do it, then I would potentially use my newest spell slot.
All right. Well, the fabricate uses your most recent spell slot.
Does it?
Does it? Oh no, I'm sorry. Your fabricate's the previous one. Correct.
Yeah.
All right. So you begin to do that. That only takes 10 minutes, but with your proficiency with your jeweler's tools, you are able to accumulate what is basically a how many third level or fourth level spells do you have slots?
2.
Okay. Yeah, with the 2, you're able to manufacture pretty much all the necessary cuts needed for your placements in the actual into the machines. So the first one, you're able to basically fabricate the correct everything.
Don't give too much away there, Andrew.
No. So you're able to fabricate everything in terms of like pieces, and the second fabricate you assemble.
Yes.
So because it's basically he can do one of each.
With also the faceting of all gems.
Yes.
That's why you also use the fabricate for.
Yeah, exactly. So one is because you're taking some and you're kind of making them the appropriate size and cut and everything. That's your first one, and your second one is just assembly. But yes, so you do that, and so it takes only about 20 minutes to do that. As you then do your other one, which is you're concentrating with your artisan's blessing.
Yes.
When you actually start to do that one, the Rook does interrupt you.
I just rush over the door and go, "What? What is it?"
Well, good evening to you too, Varkesh. Are you okay? You seem stressed, and I was going to ask a favor.
I don't preen. I would have no idea how.
No, I'm not asking you how to. You mentioned you make weaponry.
What's the favor?
I would like to commission a weapon from you. I've noticed that my strikes seem to be ineffectual against many of the creatures that we fight, and it is horribly
Before he realizes it, my hand just already sneaks in through the crack of the door, grabs the pommel of his rapier and just pulls it out of his scabbard, and I close the door going, "I'll work on it."
Thank you. And then I go back to my room and go to sleep.
Okay, you do that. Yeah. So you definitely go back to your room to sleep as Varkesh continues working a little bit into the evening hours before he himself goes to a long rest. Now, at this point, you have 3 days to do anything to prep yourselves as you need to, gather anything you might want, or try to see if there's anything you can learn, ascertain, or however you want to handle those days. So, for those 3, we'll go ahead first. Who still needs time to do anything for their sheet and their spells or anything like that?
No.
Okay, so your sheet's good, up to date, and
Yes.
Kayla, do you still need some time?
Just like a couple minutes. I just gotta.
That's good. That's fine, because we'll go ahead and do the other 2 while you do that, because they'll do what they do in those daytimes. So, yep.
The only thing I will say about the amount of days that we have to work on or do whatever it was, I'm going to be literally stuck in my room I would ask them to please be very, very nice and deliver food and biscuits to my door, if possible. And I would ask Rook, when he goes out, if he does any shopping, and the same to Valindra if she comes across any, to buy me 10 normal daggers, if possible, please.
Okay. So Varkesh requests that for you.
Close the door and I never come out again.
But you do see that Varkesh is locking himself away for the moment to work diligently. So you have 3 days to accumulate what you're doing. Are you doing, I'm guessing, because you only have 3 times, right? In those 3 days.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
So, and what I'll do is when I've made 2, when I've made 2 of these things, and when Valindra and Rook are out, I'm going to sneak into Valindra's room and hide them in her room.
Both of them in just her room?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So that's on day 2. So at least for the first day, Varkesh probably requested if you were heading out anywhere to get some daggers.
Okay, the primary thing I would do is I would actually seek out Jin.
Well, Jin's in the house. He just seems to be in his study for the most part, and you're able to knock on the door. He does answer, letting you into this science study.
Okay. Hello, Jin. How are you this day?
Oh, I'm doing quite well, for myself at least. How about you? Did you sleep well?
Oh, I did. It was actually lovely. These quarters are quite something.
I do aim to please for hospitality.
Yeah, of course. I was wondering, I mentioned earlier that I'm a bit of an explorer, and that is true, but I also have a great deal of interest in ancient relics and things of that sort. Might you have any in your hoard you'd be willing to show me?
Well, what in particular are you looking for? There's a vast amount of things I have.
Certainly, I am especially interested in anything that might have happened long ago, before magic came back to us common folk. It was just kind of in the hands of the dragons, that resurgence.
Oh, you're referring to relics from the Age of the Dragons.
Yes, those interest me greatly.
Well, lad, I don't know how to tell you, but most of those things are kept safe in the vaults. I'm not allowed much when it comes to the ancient heirlooms of the families. I'm only allowed to really enjoy the treasures that have been made recently. That's a thing that sadly most of the copper dragons don't get much of a chance to enjoy. Due to our own homeland being destroyed and decimated, most of our treasures have been lost and are still currently being kept up in there.
Of course, I suppose that makes sense, but well, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
True enough.
Oh, might there be any markets within the area that might cater to weaponry for people of my size?
Oh, perhaps if you want to go and do that, you should probably go back to the Commons district. Would you like me to take you there?
Yes, please. I would appreciate it.
Well, sure enough. Do you know if your lass needs to join, or is she all right for the moment?
I haven't asked.
Perhaps
I could probably go find out.
Yeah.
Where should I meet you? When would be a good time?
I'll be right here when you're ready.
Okay, certainly. Thank you. I will be back shortly. I leave to go to Valindra.
Okay. Valindra?
Well, I definitely want to go on that shopping trip.
Okay.
But I want to research. I want to go to the library and try to find out more about liches.
Okay, as you do that, Jin tells you that the best library he can offer you without you being too open, in a sense, is he has his own personal library if you wish to look through that one first, before you go off into exploring other ones.
Okay. Yeah, I will start with that library.
Okay.
Question real quick. Is the library getting close to an area that I used to live in?
Oh, well, if you mean going into a library in the Commons area?
Yes, because I don't know how the city's laid out.
Let me just quickly pull up my own little mini-map, because I knew. Alright. No. It would be about a good few districts away from each other.
Okay, good. I'll go to that library then.
Okay. Alright, so do you wish to go to that library first, or do you want to do Jin's library first?
I'll do Jin's. I'll do that library first, and I'll do Jin's whenever we get back, because Jin's I can get any.
All right. Okay. So you're going to follow Rook and Jin out through the wall into the Commons District.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You see that as Jin guides you, he does take you through one set wall that actually does connect directly to the Commons District. And as he pushes you through the actual barrier and lets you exit once more, you know that you are in the northernmost quarter of the actual part of the city that the humanoids inhabit in, and this is the location where most of the magic is held. This is also the location of where the library is. It's not too far, about maybe 3 blocks away from the Golden Lily.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a nice little place that's very refined. You can see that this is where most of the people who are arcanely trained reside here. For Rook, he does tell you that in order to get to the daggers, you probably have to go down to the Craftsman District, which is about another 5 or 6 blocks away, at least, before you can start searching for anyone who might be able to sell you weaponry. But he does say, I can either follow both of you, one of you, or you can split and I can wait here for your return.
I think I'm okay on my own. If you have things you need to tend to.
Well, I'll be waiting here for you, so since you won't be able to enter back in without me.
Certainly. We'll meet up here again shortly. Won't be long.
All right. Best of luck. As
Thank
you
you.
see him just kind of wave you off, you do notice that as you start to go away, he does look around, and you see him begin to converse with a small little animal. He just seems to be talking to what appears to be a bird. So you both head off to your own destinations. Valindra, you head to the library. Now, the library itself is mostly a collection of studies and scrolls. It's more of like a communal storage place for these Librams that you're being kept in, like a nice place. They're secure. They're kept from damage and wear and tear. As you go inside, you do know that it is for mostly people who have been known, either arcanists or have been given rights or have had some form of at least acknowledgement by most of the peers here that you are arcanely adept. So you do see that as you enter, they do a little routine to show and prove that you have skills in magic and other particular higher end, knowledge base, because this is where most of it is. It's all magic stuff and histories and scrolls. You do perform simple cantrip work with them. You can throw up a mage hand, you throw out yourselves. So it's not much of a trouble or hassle for you, as they just nod an acknowledgement and let you pass. Now that you're in the library itself, not really bothering to have much in terms of people interrupt you unless you choose to, you can search for whatever you wish to find.
I want to look for information on the 4 Great Liches, Draken in particular.
Okay, go ahead and make an investigation check as you look throughout.
Is there somebody that I can ask that works at the library that I can see if they can point me in the right direction?
If you do ask and you have people who help you, they will help you, and you can make your investigation check with advantage.
Okay.
18. All right. So with the help of another person who seems to share at least a little bit of your interest and knows some information about what you're looking at as a history, they do take you to a section that does give you a bit of a kind of a general overview about them. You do know from as you start to spend about a couple hours just reading through the books in general that a majority of the Liches, they know that they came during the time when the Age of Reckoning began, when the portal that led to the Shadowfell imploded on itself and released the necrotic energy. Creatures and humanoids especially that were sympathetic to the actual arcane kind of wake were either destroyed or were twisted in a bad way. Those that did not completely die or disintegrate were some turned into undead creatures, foul monstrosities, and 4 of the great mages of the time turned into liches. Each of these liches was almost in a sense located in almost 4 corners of the world, not quite, but a little bit. The red one, they know, still resides in the north, somewhere far, far away, closer to the coasts. The green lich is notorious for existing somewhere in the southeast. No one has heard word of the creature since it fled. It used to roam the countryside, continuously just preying on creatures, disintegrating most forests, basically sapping the life out of the world. The other one, the white lich, that one was found in the bottom south, close to Crag Cave Mountain. This creature would tend to move about in the forests, almost acting like a wraith or a wisp that would just move throughout. Any people who were caught unawares would be disappeared. They would disappear in the forest and never be seen again. But most knew that it was the cause of this creature. This one was a lone lich. Didn't do much in terms of like interacting or building much. The green and the red were the other two that competed in terms of building armies. Draken himself, the only thing you know is that he was very powerful. He was extremely power hungry and enjoyed reveling in conquest, as well as seeing most of his victims become tortured or twisted prior to their death, just so that when he finally finished them, he could bring them back and put them into his horde. For the information about him, you know that he's powerful. He was slain, the only one known to have been slain. Roll me a d20. This is just going to be like on what you might catch as like a slight connection if you're able to put pieces together. All right, 16, not bad. You do know that he is mostly known for skull motifs. He tends to enjoy bringing skeletons. He likes to see the bones were most of his army. They weren't zombies. He enjoyed a lot of what you would call almost experimenting and mutating and causing things to become larger or more chaotic than what they should be, usually amassing these body parts together to form hulking monstrosities. You do know that he particularly favored creatures that were like bone minotaurs or skeletal fiends or bone piles, just swarms of just these pieces of body parts sometimes.
Like the vase?
Something similar to that, yeah. So you know that. He particularly liked working with bones.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what you can uncover for your about 3 to 4 hours of researching.
Okay. After that, I just want to pop over to the Golden Lily real quick since you said it was super close.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And I would like to request to speak to the manager or the head of the Golden Lily.
All right, so you head to the Golden Lily, and as you make your way towards there, we go to Rook, who goes to the crafting district, and you find yourself amongst a lot of the clanging hammers and the clopping of hooves. As you can see, carts and other beasts of burden moving about as truckloads of metal, ore, and other goods are being transported across. This particular district is known for having a majority of high tradesmen as well as the lower craftsmen working throughout the location. You're able to see a multitude of weapons, smiths, blacksmiths, store vendors that already have weapons just made for anyone who wishes to take anything. So you can choose to buy something simple, or if you wanted anything custom.
Okay. First things first, I'd like to start with the lower craftsmen and get those 10 daggers for our guy.
All right. You're able to find that most daggers are sold. They won't be a nice matching set. They'll just be 10 daggers that you find. Some of them looking the same, some of them maybe a little bit off, but, about the same amount. Each one running you about, make a persuasion check for me if you wish to negotiate.
Sure thing. Let's see. That's 13.
Okay. They'll do it for about market value for you. So it's 1 gold per dagger.
Alright, so 10 gold.
Alright, so you hand off the 10 gold. If throughout the stores, you basically go through a couple to get the accumulated 10. But yeah,
Not too bad.
it took you no more than about 10 minutes of shopping.
Easy enough. Next up, I would also like to go to some of the higher craftsmen and see if I can find any crossbow bolts that might be more effective against creatures that are resistant to regular piercing.
Alright, you eventually do find what you would appear would be more what you would call specialty stores that seem to have a higher degree of weaponry that are used for multitudes of things. And as you go inside, you do see that there is a Fletcher that does seem to have arrows and bolts. Some of them are catered to different things. You can see that there are bolts that are coated with silver-tipped arrows. You can see that there are also bolts that have what appears to be a full metallic black to them. As you pick them up, you examine them and you kind of tap them a little bit, you realize these are made of a solid adamantine. And you also see that there are a few what appear to be, from what you can tell, they look to be kind of hollow-tipped arrows. You can, as you tap them, you hear a slight ceramic tink to them, as if they were able to break on impact and do something.
Okay. I would like to wave over to the craftsman and say, what do these have in the tips here?
As you do see that there is a elven individual, a very long brown hair, kind of almost like a faded leaf looking color, kind of a little browny gray and faded, but he does turn to look at you and go, "Those arrows are for those who wish to employ either poisons, powders,
Oh my god.
or other solutions to be embedded in the arrow." As he walks over to you very slow, he takes it from you and you see him just pop it off and goes, "As you see, inside it is hollow. You may put any form of liquid or powder inside the capsule,
Ooh.
which you can then seal back into place and have a useful weapon to deploy whatever it is
God, this guy sounds like he suffered from a stroke.
you wish.
I love him.
But you do see he's just very slow and meticulous. He doesn't really take his time to do much else. He's just, you can see that his own time is very different from your time. He perceives your time as like you run fast, and he's just like a slow and steady kind of casual individual.
Amazing.
I'll take a breath, center myself, say, certainly. I appreciate the demonstration. Might you have a recommendation on where to find some of those poisons or powders that I might put in this?
He kind of breathes heavily. I do not know, for I don't deal in such toxic substances. You best inquire with a herbologist
Oh my
or an alchemist.
Why, thank you. And how much for 20 of these
Oh my god.
hollow point bolts?
20 ceramic tipped bolts will run you around 3 gold for all.
Oh my god.
Slowly go back in time.
I grab the 3 gold,
He slowly takes them from you.
hand it over, and acquire those 20 bolts.
You have 20 hollow tipped bolts.
Okay. And what is the going rate for these adamantium bolts?
He looks at you. Ah, those bolts are far more expensive than your average bolt. Each will run up to 100 gold pieces.
And the silver tip bolts?
God.
To have a silver tipped bolt, that would be 5 gold per 10.
Okay. I will purchase another 20 of those.
Time is
10 gold pieces, if you please.
1,
Oh God, no!
2,
Don't encourage this.
3, 4.
He does not seem to mind as you do this, but he just pretty much waits for all there, and then he just takes them and puts them away. Can I help you with anything
God,
else in my humble establishment?
No, but thank you, sir. Your establishment
no. Jeez.
carries some really fine goods.
just throw your money at him. It's like, take it!
I thank you for your compliments. And please, should you need any more of my bolts or arrows, you may come at any reasonable hour. Have a wonderful day, my feathered friend.
But of course, thank you, and you do the same.
He just nods at you as you leave. Yes.
This is what it must have been like to watch the dinosaurs evolve into birds.
But yes, as Rook has finished his purchases, and you see him scuttling away, Valindra, you do make it to the Golden Lily. Now, inside the establishment, it takes you a little bit of time to just wait for, as you go to the main desk and talk to one of the more youthful individuals, a younger kind of human that does seem to do the lower end grunt work of the establishment. You wait, and as he brings over one of the owners, you can see what appears to be a light gray-haired gnome gentleman that seems to have a golden vest, very brightly stitched with a beautiful trim of kind of deep gold, and bits of white. The white themselves are very contrasting to the shimmer, and you can see that they're lilies. These white lilies just seem to break on this golden pond across his uniform. And you see him walk up to you. He's a bit more of a spry gnome for his age, but you can still see that he doesn't necessarily bounce as much as Sippy does. But you can see that he does walk around, looking about before eventually seeing you and moving across to you on the floor going, "Greetings, madam," as he bows. "How may I help you?"
Oh yes, it is such an honor to meet you. You are the owner of the Golden Lily.
I am one of two. Yes, my wife and I are the owners of the Golden Lily here at Alniel.
Oh, it is such a pleasure to meet you. I'm gonna shake his hand.
The pleasure is mine. Are you enjoying your stay here at the Golden Lily?
Unfortunately, I'm not able to stay in the Golden Lily at this point in time, but I did want to pass my compliments on to you because the Golden Lily in Riverrun is so exquisite. Sippy has just really outdone herself, and I know she works incredibly hard, and I just wanted her hard work to be noticed.
You see that when you do mention that, his eyes are brightening, and the eyebrows, the thick, bushy caterpillars of eyebrows, do kind of raise up a little as you start mentioning this.
And my gods, the hospitality is through the roof. She has boundless energy. I don't know where she gets it, but she is always right there, ready to serve our every need, all on her own, it seems. And I really wanted to express my appreciation for the wonder that is the Golden Lily, run by Sippy in Riverrun.
Kayla, you got a bit of brown right there on me.
But you do see that as you continue to build up the amazing service from Riverrun, he just seems to blink and goes, Oh my, that is just splendid. I am so happy to hear that my baby Sippy is doing an excellent job. Oh,
You must be so proud.
I am. I never thought she could run anything so exquisite in that little hovel, but it's good to hear that she has found a way to make it the shining gem that is the lily. As he just kind of once more gestures to the grandeur of the current golden lily that you are in.
Yes, I just, I was so impressed by her enthusiasm for the brand that I wanted to at least come in and see the one in Alniel. I really do have to be going. I have some colleagues that are waiting on me, but I just wanted to stop in and express my appreciation for everything
Please,
you do. See
Mike-
if this one kind of matches up to the
might
one.
might I inquire, where are you staying?
Oh, I'm afraid I'm in town on business, and it's kind of, contractually obliged not to tell you.
Ah, that is a shame. I was hoping you could at least share more, and perhaps visit you with discussions about our daughter.
Oh, well, I would be more than happy to come back tomorrow. I have the day off tomorrow as well, so I can come back here and we can gab about Sippy all we want.
Thank you, that would be lovely. As he just seems to smile at that. Yet he does look at you as you try to eventually leave. He does not want to be unattending to you as you eventually wait. You see, if you look over your shoulder, once you're kind of out the way, he kind of seems to scurry quickly off to a direction, looking for someone.
We did cause Sippy quite a bit of stress, so I'm trying to undo a little bit. We did steal her napkins, so
But yes, you
What
do.
now? It's terrible.
You do make your way back to Jin at the door. You can see that he is currently still in a deep conversation with the bird, just constantly looking up and just going, just whistling, just twiddly twiddly, and then he sees you, goes, oh, then he just once more kind of just gives a little bow to the bird, and knocks you. So I take it you're ready then.
I think I'm good. Is Rook back yet?
He shouldn't be too far, I'd hope. And Rook, do you want to do anything after that purchase?
Yes, actually, I wanted to see if I could find any holy oil or water, any poisons, or anything that I might pack into create an explosive
Sure.
bolt. for these
Make an
things.
investigation check.
Okay, investigation.
Okay. You're able to find that there are a few temples of different deities that are able to craft holy water for you, but there also is a apothecary further to the south as you eventually go through nearly the entire city before you reach what appears to be a place where most of the herbologists and alchemists would call themselves home. You do find that they do sell a variety of poisons and toxins if you wish, some of which are a little more expensive than the others.
I'd like to look for a paralytic specifically.
Alright, so if you wish to get a paralytic one, you do see that there are a few of them. They range in quality from those just for your own basic abilities to understand. One powder could do basically a DC 10 for a single round of stun, or you can get a higher one where the DC becomes 15.
And how much for the 15?
The 10 gold one and the 15... So the 15 DC one is going to run you 50 gold for a pouch. The pouch could probably fill about 5 bolts.
That's worth it. I'll buy a pouch of the 50 gold one.
Alright, so you can basically fill 5 bolts of it, or you can use it as you want. If you grab it and put it into someone's face, you could try to get them to inhale it then.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and mark that off here real quick.
Okay?
And then I would also like to pick up some, more standard poisons, not just the paralytics as well.
Alright, you just want to just get normal poisons.
Yes.
Alright, the normal poisons themselves run at 1 gold per pouch. Each pouch has a 10 application.
Okay. I'll go ahead and buy 1 pouch of those.
Okay?
Actually no. Let's do 2 pouches of those.
Alright, so that's going to be 20 gold. Each of these is basically a paste. It's kind of something that you can smear onto the edge of weapons if you wanted to poison tip them for an hour before it dries up. Or you can apply them into a ceramic bolt, and by sealing them, they will remain liquid and pasty, so those will be effective still. And once they penetrate inside someone, they kind of will break and open and bleed into the wound and cause the poison effect to take hold.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and fill all my ceramics with 15 poison bolts, 5 of the paralytic bolts, and keep that half pouch of poison to the
Okay.
side.
All right, so go ahead and mark your completed poisoned arrows of different qualities.
Mhm.
Now, remember, of course, if you are going to load them, you have to make sure to tell me that you're loading them prior to the launch.
Of course, yeah. So we got that marked down. What's the DC for the regular poisons?
The first regular poison? Oh, sorry, you mean the unparalytic ones, just the normal poison?
Yes,
The normal poison is a DC of 10.
Okay, normal poison DC 10, the paralytics DC 15. Got that marked down. All right, thank you.
All right, sure. All right, so Valindra, you are waiting for about a good half an hour. It's quite a while, but eventually Rook does once more scuttle his way to you. Oh, there's your friend now.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Hey, did you find everything that you needed?
I did, yes. How about yourself? Did you find everything you were looking for?
Found some stuff. So, nothing life-changing.
Right. Excellent. Well, back we should go. Make sure, remember, keep your eyes averted if you can. And he takes you once more through the wall and into the Dragon District. Now, this is during the middle of the day, and as you enter and go through, you do see that there are now far more dragons and people moving about and doing their business throughout the day. The dragons themselves vary in size. You can see a multitude of large to maybe about at least, well, you could probably assume 5 times the size of a horse, up to, you can see one, that the one grand one you can see that's in the distance looks to be about, you could estimate 40 feet in length, 20 feet up to shoulder in height with a very long neck. But those ones seem to they don't pay you much attention. However, as you both are passing by, I need you both to make charisma saving throws for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
So
right.
as Jin is walking along, he pretty much is just taking his time, and as he looks around, eventually he notices both of you are gone. Each of you, as you are walking by, you kind of get drawn in like a bug into a net. You see these moments of intrigue just pop out to the side of you. Rook, you head off in one direction, and you see what appears to be a brass dragon that is currently moving its what looks to be clawed hand in a bit of a motion, and is kind of making what appears to be a slight distortion in the air, almost like heat when you can see that, and it seems to be carving an intricate kind of pattern, almost like watching these smoke swirls going about, and you just kind of get a little fascinated, and you stop and stare at him for a moment before you find that your feet have walked closer to the creature, and you haven't really done much but just stare at him for a moment. Valindra, the same thing happens to you, except this is another brass dragon, but instead of doing carving, weaving motions, you see this one locks gazes with you, and as you look into its eyes, it just stares at you for a moment, and you kind of have this moment of like, "Ew!" You awkwardly stared, and you just kind of freeze in place for a moment as Jin continues to walk for a second. And you can see that both of you almost split off separately, and Jin is like, oh shit. And he sees both of you kind of go. He doesn't know who to pick, so 1 second. Okay, he goes for Valindra, second one. Alright, so as Rook and Valindra separate, he immediately goes to Valindra, and he tries to get you to snap out of it first, before you can reach the dragon. Sadly, you will have to make your save at disadvantage, because that's a nat 1. So He is going to try and get... Okay, you're fine. All right, as he brings you over and goes, snaps, he goes, last. And he turns your head. You go, you little lips pushing us. Don't look into the eyes. Follow me, quick. We got it. Oh, bloody hell. And you see him just looking over to the right. Rook is immediately beginning to talk with the brass dragon. The brass dragon is just looking down, just kind of going, well, little small fry, I didn't expect to see one of your kind here, as he begins to engage in a dialogue with you. Jin immediately kind of is at this moment of like, shit. He doesn't know what to do. He can't really interrupt because that's a bit rude. But I need you, just in general, to do a charisma check first. Let's just see how well you can intrigue him or find a way to coax your way out of him. All right. You're able to enjoy his conversation a little bit, but as you're doing this, you're kind of entrapped for a moment. Valindra, Jin immediately takes you back as he figures Rook is going to be safe for a little while, just kind of stuck there. He can't really save him at the moment. He's just kind of engaging in dialogue. So he takes you back quickly and runs you over to the house, just kind of like puts you and goes, Lass, I don't know how long it'll take him for him to excuse himself, but it might be a little bit of a while. In the meantime, perhaps you should take your way in here. And he just kind of opens the door and goes, inside you go! He kind of pushes you in, hoping you not to come back out. He goes, stay right there. Try not to go outside. And he closes the door.
Am I back in his house?
You're back in his house.
Time to steal stuff.
I'll go knock on Barkash's door.
Okay.
Okay, I slowly open the door, and I've got, like, dragon bag rings under my eyes. I look very disheveled. I'm like, yes.
Oh, Barkash, you look exhausted.
I am. I'm very tired.
Why don't you take a break from whatever it is you're doing in there? Try to...
Make a perception check.
I just narrow my eyes. Just follow her.
I mean, he's a very big framed dragonborn. His bulk is blocking most of the door. You can't see much.
I would like to stealthily pop Winnie under his bed.
I will slowly close the door.
Okay, all right. So you just when he ports, he goes into a shadow and goes underneath.
I'm gonna try to stop him from closing the door. No, but in all seriousness, Rook got the daggers that you needed. He should be back in a second. He got stuck talking to a frost dragon. What an idiot! Put your eyes down. I mean, come on. It's not that hard.
Has
Although
he
he
been
does
eaten?
have 4 of them.
Has he been eaten?
I'm not sure.
Shit.
Hopefully not.
I mean, I'm sure he'll be fine.
But you might want to take a break at some point. You're just exhausting yourself, and I can hear you next door, and you're making quite a bit of racket, so just take a break every now and then, if you want.
I'm just continuing to glare at her.
Okay, I can see that I'm not wanted, and as you stated yesterday, not your friend. So I will leave you to it then. All right. And I will go in the direction of Jin's library. But Winnie is under his bed, and I would like to peer through Winnie's eyes, see what he is up to.
All right. Okay. So
I'm just going to tell you what you see. You actually see most of the actual bedspread, as in most of the stuff I'm working on is covered by additional sheets of fabric.
Winnie's just gonna sit and wait.
spy. All right. Go ahead and make a general perception check for Winnie. Because Winnie is only looking from one spot. He doesn't move around unless you wish to.
Make a stealth check?
He's just nestled under the bed. He's pretty darn... I mean, I don't think you would look under the bed naturally, would you? At the moment, he can't see anything. Winnie, at that angle, under the bed, hiding in the shadows.
Yeah, but Winnie have gotten in. How did Winnie get in?
When he got in, he was just a blank shadow that moves. When she doesn't have him summoned, she casts a shadow. When Winnie is moving, the shadow disappears and it goes underneath her bed. So there's a... you can make a general perception to see if you might have noticed it. It's at disadvantage. It's going to be hard to see her suddenly not have her shadow if you weren't attentively looking for it. All right, you didn't see the shadow disappear, but Winnie right now is just sitting there. He's not moving. If Winnie tries to move, he will be making stealth checks. But right now, from where he's at, can't see much.
Winnie is just going to sit and wait.
Okay.
Curl up and go to sleep.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, Winnie is just sitting under there.
He's going to stay there until I tell him to do something else.
All right, so, Rook, you find yourself engaged in a very detailed and deep conversation about anything and everything. They are inquiring about what it seems to be your history. They're curious about what you have been doing, where you're going, who you're working for, what's your name, what's your blood type. I mean, literally every speck of information and detail they're trying to get out of you. With your charisma, you're able to be entertaining enough without divulging too much of your personal information. You're allowed to kind of, dance around the subject and still be interesting without you being offensive by not maybe answering the questions directly. But you do see that they talk to you, and they talk to you, and they talk to you, 2 hours have gone by.
Oh, good.
And they are still talking with you. And they're very apt at learning. And it's like, when you think one subject has closed, another one immediately opens. There is a slew of things they can chat with you about. Now, you feel at this moment you're kind of caught here. You can try to excuse yourself if you wish. But you can choose how you wish to try and politely try and say, I have to go.
What time of day is it right now?
This is about maybe 2 or 3. High sun. You're kind of feeling it, but yeah.
Okay. Was there ever like a short break in the conversation?
Not a single one. Nope, not one bit.
Okay, partway through the conversation, I'm just gonna kind of almost start looking up at the sun every once in a while, looking a little bit more concerned each time until he asks about it.
Oh, he probably would. He'd probably go, I see that you seem to be a little troubled by something. Are you waiting for friends?
Sort of. I do apologize. I've been having a wonderful conversation with you, but I had been sent on an errand by a friend of mine, and I promised it would be a short one out to the city and back. See,
An errand, you say? What's the errand you had?
Well, you see, he requested that I go and get these daggers for him, and I pulled up a few daggers.
How interesting. A set of daggers. They don't seem quite uniformed in appearance. 10 ununique daggers. That doesn't seem like a very dire task. Perhaps your friend can wait a little longer.
Well, it certainly doesn't seem like too dire of a task, but it would feel awful making him wait too long. He took on a request for me to enhance one of my own weapons. Something of a rapier swordsman.
Well, we wouldn't want you to insult your friend. How about I send one of my servants to deliver it for you, so we can continue our conversation? As you see him quickly raise a claw over, and you can see one individual dressed in a very nice, fine, kind of almost metallic sheet just kind of walks forward and looks at you. Just blankly staring and just not... You can see, the eyes just going There's a sympathetic version of, we're both screwed.
Well, I couldn't possibly impose upon your resources like that.
It is no trouble at all for me, please. By all means, hand your daggers and the location of which you'd like them delivered. I can assure you they will make it there safely.
What you gonna do, Rook? This is
You wouldn't choose to insult a dragon's offer, would you?
No, of course not. It is a very generous offer. I will begrudgingly hand the daggers over.
The servant takes them and just kind of, as they hold it, they look at you, and you see them look up at the dragon, and they start to step away. Tell them where he needs to go.
The residence of one Jin Trick.
Ah, so you are in the employ of Jin. Off to his house with you, as you see the servant kind of nod a little bit, and dash. This is a run. They are booking it. And they are trying to not come back.
I know, I like it.
But you do see that now he just looks at you from and goes, now tell me more about your feathery friend, as he seems to inquire about your relations, your previous ones. As you begin to talk continuously, make another charisma check for me.
Certainly. Having cheating.
Okay, so you
Legend
find
still says Rook
you
was
find
still
that this time you start to actually get that he pries for more details and to not be rude and to not be witty or clever enough to evade them. You're forced to answer a little bit more directly and honestly as you begin to share a bit more of your personal information. And the dragon is quite intrigued by you now being open and honest. But yes, hours pass. Night falls. Valindra, are you looking at the library for anything else in particular for Jin's work?
I'm looking for information about the liches, about any, same type of typical...
Alright, so you spend the rest of the evening doing that. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
Okay, then.
Yeah. By the way, Rook, you can make a perception check as well.
Okay.
Alright. Okay, Valindra, you spend the entire evening looking through every possible book that you can and only getting through maybe a third of the library and finding no luck. All the books that you have chosen don't seem to help. None of them have any discussion about witches. Rook, as you are doing this and talking, you catch out of the corner of your eye, Jin is just staring and looking at you and just hopefully waiting for it to end. He is just intently watching and waiting and hoping. He can't interfere, and he's just staring.
Okay. Oh boy.
But yes.
So I spot him off to the side.
Yeah, you do see him. But it comes to the point that dinner is now approaching, and you see that the dragon is looking up and around. It seems the hour to dine has approached us. Perhaps you wish to dine at my own home.
Oh, God.
I can promise you fine cuisine, excellent wines, and great conversations.
Bit of spooning as well.
That would be lovely. This has been an amazing conversation all day. But it seems that my host has come to fetch me.
He does look up. Oh, you have brought your friend. He kind of motions for Jin to come forward, and Jin was like looking around going, and he just moves forward. He didn't want to come in. But he just kind of does that little forced smile going, "Oh, hello, your majesty," as he looks at you. Stupid bird. I am sorry to interrupt. I did not mean to break your conversation. He just seems to... Not at all. I was curious. Perhaps would you allow your guest to dine with me? He goes, "Oh, I can't find any reason that would not be suitable. Perhaps I am overlooking something. Brooke, did we forget anything important?"
Say you're pregnant.
We did have that business with Varkesh. It seemed rather pressing.
Go ahead and make a deception check.
Alright.
Okay. With that, he does look at... Right. There's important work to have with our friend Varkesh back at my place, and I'm afraid the hours have already weaned so far. He needs to get back soon. The dragon just kind of looks around and goes, "Oh, that's disappointing. Perhaps we can negotiate for your return after your duties. Perhaps you will meet me here. Let's say on the morrow." Jin just kind of goes, ooh, looks at you, Rook, going...
Well, due to the nature of their business with Varkesh, we may not be in town long, but if I can, certainly.
Oh, shit. Okay. He looks and goes, "Excellent. I shall have a servant come for you in the morning to fetch you post-haste."
Someone's made a friend.
Yay!
But you do see that Jin kind of smiles and goes, "That would be most wonderful. Thank you, your eminence," as he just kind of bows, and he kind of grabs you on the side of the arm and just kind of begins to tug and goes, "We'll be off now. Please enjoy your evening," as he just nods and bows, gets you about a good 15 feet away and goes, "That was really stupid of yourself, Rook. Why the hell did you look? Keep your eyes down. Keep them down. Look down. Don't look at anything else. Look at the ground." And he kind of like does the whole scolding. Look down. And he looks for you just to make sure to guide you so you don't get detracted away, holding your hand firmly, making sure you don't leave.
Like a child.
But you do see he eventually brings you back and he puts you inside as he shuts the door and goes, "Oh, all right, lad. We're going to have to make up an excuse for you. I think you don't look so well, lad. I think perhaps you're coming down or something."
Day and I was visiting some alchemists.
"Yes, you're quite ill. I think you have a fever," as he kind of puts his hand on your brow. "I think perhaps you're feeling a little sick."
Does he have the bird flu?
Well, after Valendra's day boning up, I'm sure she has many interesting pieces of information she could use to pass some sort of fake disease for me.
That would be even all the better, lad. If you can do that, that's more convincing for it. So do that. So he just kind of like shuffles you on. Find your friend. Dinner will be served to you if you'd like in the dining hall. You may grab whatever you wish. It's mostly served for free grabs, buffet style. And he kind of like does a little bit of a gesture off for you to go off to the side. As he waves you off, you do see Lulu at the top of the stairs looking down, just going, "Darlings, I need a moment with Jin." And you see her just kind of staring at him and goes, "All right, okay. If you'll excuse me, lads and lass, I'll be..." Well, he just only sees Rook. "Oh, excuse me."
How's she dressed?
You do see that she's dressed in her normal business attire. She's not dressed in, like, a nightgown that's barely holding it together. There's no feather boa and lace cover. It is a business attire that you can see. But he does go up to Lulu and seems to go inside the door and just begin some discussions with her about things. But the rest of you all enjoy the rest of your evening. Varkesh, you do finish your day's work, and you enjoy a dinner and whatnot if you choose to leave your room and do that.
I asked for my meals to be delivered.
You did? So, yeah, the meal would be delivered to you. Just an assortment of everything.
And as the door opens, it's just this blind blue clawed hand grabbing and just, like, grabbing all the mashed potatoes from the plate.
Well,
Every time I arrive, by the way.
Can I try to stop the person bringing the dinner to him? Be like, "Oh, no, I'll take it."
Ooh.
Well, I mean, you can, but for what you see, it's not a person. It is just a floating plate of food.
I'm just gonna grab the plate of food and start walking.
All right, as you grab it, I need you to make a strength check for me.
Oh, Lord.
Just an unseen servant. They're not usually very strong.
I know, but I'm pretty...
But this is Valindra.
Yes, sure, I roll shit. Oh, that's pretty good.
Okay. As you try to tug it away, there's this little moment of... and then it gets pulled away from you, and you see it continue to hover towards the stairs. It hasn't moved to his door yet, but it's going up the stairs now.
I'm gonna trip him.
Okay, go ahead and make an armed attack.
My dinner's gonna be all over the floor.
You deserve this.
Just a string.
It is a string. It is with disadvantage because you cannot see the targets. So, but the AC is 10. So, okay. You try to trip. There's this version of like, what the fuck do I trip? And it's slowly climbing up to the point. It's now in the hallway. It is approaching Varkesh's door.
I'm just gonna be like, "Rook,
What?
can you get the plate from the guy, please?
Probably, but why?
Because I want Varkesh to come out of his room."
There is a knock on Varkesh's door.
I'm gonna run up the stairs and like put myself between the plate.
Okay. All right. Okay. You put yourself between the plate as you do this, and you kind of do the pretend holding it as if you're doing that. But you eventually see an arm just come out and do this.
Grabbing, and I'm like,
all right, you get a slap hand.
"Ow!
Varkesh,
That's not dinner. That's pain.
Varkesh, please come eat dinner with us.
I'm working."
I know you're working, but you've been working a very long time, and I think you need a break, and we miss your company.
Insight check.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and make an insight check. Valindra, you can make a deception check or a persuasion check. I mean, it's your choice as to what you're trying. Are you trying your best to coax him?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, she does seem genuine in her desire to want to see you, but as you kind of look at her tone and her sweat on the forehead, there's something afoot. You don't know what, but there's
I'm also,
something.
I did sprint up the stairs.
So there's a bit of like heavy breathing and a tiny bit of, but yeah.
I just very gently take the plate.
No, Varkesh, come on. What are you even doing? You're just...
I will come out when I'm finished. Oh, by the way, I've decided, while I was busy working, you know how I usually stomp to cast magic?
Yes.
Well, I have come up with a new one, and I cast Turn Undead, just for the dramatic.
Oh,
Okay, that's a wisdom saving throw.
We're winning.
Yeah.
I devised a new shiny method.
Oh, all right. So, as you do this, you see a blast wave of your holy energies woof out, and you feel the turn on dead presence. A moment of yourself just goes, but then as you wait for a moment, you still feel Winnie. Winnie is not happy. Hair is on edge, and you can see it's just like freaked out, just like this moment
Winnie
of kind
is
of
still under the bed.
under the bed, but he was resting peacefully, and now he's just like that moment of just like
Amazing, right? It's a new light show.
Barkesh,
What?
don't do that. Again, just out of spite.
Why? I was showing you a new technique.
No, it hurts him.
Hurts
Barkesh,
who?
you know, every time you do that, Winnie runs away in fear.
Wait, where is Winnie?
He's not on me anymore.
But Winnie wasn't on you to begin with.
You must have missed him. I don't know. But seriously, don't do that. Not on purpose.
I want to insight check that.
okay. I mean, you can see if she's on the up and up.
Okay. Come on, insight. Nat 20. Something powerful.
Nat one.
22.
All right, you can. It's difficult because you are technically telling the truth, so you can try to be persuasive in trying to like coax him that there's nothing to worry about, or if you are flat out just trying to lie to him.
Well, I didn't lie.
All right, so you can do persuasion. Yeah, because the word choices you used were okay. She seems to be honest, but at the same time, again, there's that moment of like she's choosing her words carefully. It's one of those where you know that like you suspect it and your suspicions are still there.
Well, with that 22 insight, could I deduce by the whole fact that she seemed to want my company, the fact that she ran up the stairs, the fact that she was very
That would
adamant?
be an intelligence check to determine if you can piece together all the puzzle pieces. At the moment, you can tell that there's something going on. What? Not sure.
You are confusing.
I'm really not. Just don't do that.
Just narrows my eyes at her.
If you want to stay in your room all night and die of fume exposure, fine, whatever. Do that. I don't know what the hell you're doing in there, but obviously it's super important. By the way, your friend and your knives are downstairs, unless... Did the knives get delivered to his room specifically?
Didn't you say the guy ran off?
The guy ran off.
He didn't bring the knives?
You did not recall any knives being delivered.
Oh my god.
Barkesh at this point is going to go, really? My knives are here?
Yes.
Would you have Rook bring them up for me?
No. I'm not doing any favors for you, not after what you did.
I shout for Rook. Rook!
Do I hear it?
Oh yeah, you can hear it. I mean, there's not much.
Oh, good.
Of course you hear it's Barcash.
Come on upstairs. Yes.
Do you have my daggers, my feathery chum?
No, they were supposed to be delivered earlier. Did you not receive them?
No. Valindra told me that they have arrived.
I thought you had them.
Did they? No, that dragon sent his servant with them.
Oh, well, I don't think anybody came.
I just look at Valindra. You've lied to me again.
Yes, Barcash.
Close the
I've lied
door.
to you again. I've lied to you. You tried to scare away my pet. We're clearly not friends. I'm gonna kick the door and then go eat dinner.
Okay. As you all close off your evening with a bit of ruffled feathers and hair,
That's so funny.
you do enjoy the evening to yourselves as you wish. But we will use this time for all of you to go ahead and take your break if you'd like. Those of you who need to pee and so on and so forth, your bathroom breaks and drinks and water, go right ahead. I shall look at the chat and see how everything's going. For I do not need to leave my post. So, first off, let's go ahead and say howdy doody to everyone. I hope you are enjoying everything so far. Now remember, we do these every Sunday from 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, all the way to around 10:30ish or so. It depends on where our players find their nice meeting or ending point. But yes, for that, let's see. Long, intense conversation and good food. Yeah, it's a great thing. I mean, anyone who goes to a Brass Dragon's dining hall will probably be in for a treat.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, dating a dragon. It's a good thing. Lots of perks. All you have to handle is long conversation. That's not too bad. I think I still see a cat. Oh, there's the kitty.
Yeah. Hello, kitty kitty. I mean, I ship the brass dragon. I think they make a lovely pair.
Where were you Tuesday?
Oh, where was I Tuesday? Tuesday, I was extremely exhausted, and I had had a very long day at work, and I really needed some sleep because I had not been sleeping well, so I had to pass out on the Tuesday. But I should be there this Tuesday, because it should be a pretty chill week. I'm hoping. Work's kind of crazy. It's gonna get crazy.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but sorry I missed you guys. I'll catch up with you all this week. This week's the Battle Royale, right?
It is. This Tuesday is the. I think what is it? It's Fortnite inspired. Is that the one? Is that the word? Is that the game? Where you umbrella drop everywhere?
I have no idea. I'm not up to date on like common culture things. I'm basically an old person. I don't get on the internet.
I mean, yeah. It's just I don't want to like. I don't want to mix up the names. That's because there's so many out there. But I think Trespasses, yes. So yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I miss you guys too. I'll catch up with you all like I guess because Kyle said he's not gonna be there for the Battle Royale, but next Tuesday Kyle's doing one shot, right?
I think if I remember correctly, it's Royale, Cart, and then Kyle.
That's right. I have no idea what's going on. My schedule's crazy, and I can't keep up with my own schedule. So. Okay, cool. I'm excited for all of the fun little one-shots. Do you already have an attack plan, AJ?
I have no idea what we're supposed to do, so no.
Oh, okay.
I really don't know what's going to happen. So I'm just going to try and be flexible and see where the wind takes me.
Wizards are pretty good at adapting to different things.
I mean, as long as I have the right ship prepared, that's the other key thing. So I hope I do.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be fine. You know.
Right?
Sure
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh goodness. I am excited to watch all that go down, though. I think it'll be really interesting.
I am curious to see how it's going to go. Yeah, we get Spaz in for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Good friggin' luck with Spaz.
I know. I was like, I don't know which is worse, Spaz or you, and I think Spaz is a little worse. So I think Kurtz will realize that he'll miss the Lilash when he has to deal with the Spaz nonsense.
It's true.
We're referring to the Spaz entering in on the group on Tuesday and having his presence be known.
I would like to do that too. It would be fun.
Yeah. Well, they did say that if everything works out well for this one, we might be able to repeat it, and then from the repeat event, we'll have more people come in. Since we'll be able to work out the kinks and see how well it goes. Yeah, because it's one of those things where everyone will be learning it a little bit for the first time, so it's kind of a whole, it's like whenever you play a new game for the first time, it's learning the combo buttons, what works, what's the speed, getting that kind of feel for it. But yes.
Whee! I thought that chair was going to go over.
There's just cats all around.
That would have been bad.
No, it would have been funny as fuck.
It would have been very funny.
I mean, yeah, it would have been a moment.
Hey, like the fawns would just go, head over tip and just crash everywhere.
I mean, it would be caught on film. It'd be a YouTube fail at that point.
I'd be fine with that.
But yeah, no cats here.
Hmm?
I said no cats here.
Trying to see if my new cat will say hi.
If you're good,
is your cat still being Not too friendly.
No, he's being friendly now. He's just, oh, here he is. All you can see is a little ear.
The good, amazing cat that we all know the name of, Castlevania's favorite hero.
Yes, my good buddy Belmont.
It's a fun name.
My little Belmont.
I did love that anime series on Netflix. I was so happy they continued it, and at the same time, I'm just like, I'm so unhappy that they haven't made more.
I know. The third season's taking forever.
But they are doing a third one?
They better.
Okay, so that's the question, right? Are they? Or...
They kind of ended it on a cliffhanger there.
I mean, I feel like every good series should always do that, end it on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, but not like that. Not with so many unresolved things.
But they tried to make it seem like it was a happy, slightly closed chapter, but then that like one or two little like, but...
Yeah.
The DM in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But yes, but while we wait for Cody to come back, we shall do this basic little quick wrap up. So there's only 2 more days left. In that time, Varkash was finishing up something on his second day, and you do know that as Valindra, when you try to look out the window, there is a persistent servant waiting out there.
Outside the window?
Outside the door, like outside the front entrance, there seems to be an individual just waiting patiently as you wake up.
Outside my bedroom door?
Outside the house's door.
Oh, okay.
You know who that is?
I say through the wall.
Hey, Rook, there's this weird guy just like standing outside the house, waiting. Is this the guy that you told to bring the knives? Did he get lost and it's just now right?
Like look out at him. Is it the guy?
It is not.
Well, it's not the one I'm thinking of.
It looks to be a very beautiful looking individual, a female that seems to have long, almost metallic looking hair, and what appears to be a more delicate looking gown that seems to have a very odd sensation to it. Imagine it like this, like when you see clothing, most clothing has to have some kind of form to hug it or some means for it to be able to stay up and firm. This almost looks like it's nearly painted on her skin. As you can see, it's just hugging so tightly across her form and keeping around and down, like the gown was made to be a part of the person's skin. It's very odd and ethereally eerie to look at, but there is a person waiting and just staring at the front door.
Is there anything that might indicate it's an illusion of any sort?
Make an investigation check.
And would this be an advantage or no?
Yes, I suppose, since you are not moving at all. It is
But
real. You peer
Well, it's not an
and...
illusion of any sort. I don't recognize her. Maybe Jin Trit knows who this is?
Gindrit.
As you call Jin, he just kind of walks in and goes, "Oh, bloody hell." And he just once more like puts his head around to make sure no one saw him peeking out and goes, "That's one of the brass dragon's mates. What are you doing looking at her?" What'd you do?
Trying to discern who it is, but...
That's it. Just don't. No. Just all right.
Can Varkash lean out the window and catcall her?
Well, there is no window in your room facing the there is no window in the room facing yours, and if you're staying in your room, you might not be able to hear this conversation. So make a perception check to see if you can hear what's going on.
Let's see. 22.
All right, you can get a sense that they seem to be talking about someone at the front of the house.
I lean out the window and go, "You're right, darling."
I mean, it's basically like the front is here and your rooms are way off to the side, so it's like you're leaning out and just echoing here.
Bonjour.
Gonna pull Varkash in.
He's in his room.
Oh, are we? Oh, okay. I'm gonna... Ooh, while he's distracted, actually, Winnie's gonna scoot to the edge of the bed and see if she can see what he's been working on.
Make a perception check. And then a stealth check.
9 for the perception.
It's hard to see. I mean, there's a work table and there's cloth draped over things at the moment. That make a stealth.
Is my stealth with advantage because he's distracted by a beautiful lady?
Distraction sadly does not help the stealth.
Oh, I noticed that little.
I mean,
bugger.
you hear tiny scratching, just tiny little. And
My
that's it.
ears just lift and rotate like little radar dishes. What the?
Make a perception check to see if you can see. I mean, if you roll in that one, you could assume it's something
Roll
else.
shit, roll shit, roll shit, roll shit.
Was it perception? Was it? Yeah.
Yes.
18.
You notice there's a tiny little fennec fox head underneath the shadows of your bed.
Philindra!
I'm going to open his door.
Okay.
I'm just very gently holding the little fennec fox up at the scruff of his neck. You go, I think this is yours.
Oh, poor Winnie. Has he been hiding?
You do see that the poor fox is just like.
Poor Winnie. Oh, poor. And I'm gonna still standing in his room, and I'm gonna try to look at what he's been working on because I'm now in Varkesh's room.
Okay, make a perception check.
I'm gonna find out. God damn it.
It seems to be covered in a cloth. Most of I mean, you can see vague rises and bumps, but that's about it.
Well,
Just like tilt my head down to meet her. I was like, looking for something?
nope. I found Winnie, and I've been looking for him. So, thank you. I guess, and I will leave.
As you exit, you do see Jin is kind of looking around. He just goes, I need to get you some makeup real quick. And it just goes off into his own study, and you see him bringing out what appears to be a few bits of cosmetics and other things. And he's like going, all right, did any of you know how to handle this little ditty of makeup? We need to make your bird friend look really sick. And I know how to work with humanoid flesh, but I've never worked with bird. How do I make a bird look sick?
I can make you sick.
What do you have in mind?
I mean, Varkesh, you peek out and save us?
Rakesh, no, seriously, what do you have in mind? I have a way that we can get out of this. It'll be pleasant, but...
I mean, I could. It will really hurt, and I really do want this spell. But if you really want out of it, I could blow this last spell, this big spell slot, and give you contagion.
No, I think,
No, don't do that.
I think that I can help, actually.
I'll let you do that because I don't want to blow that spell slot.
Hold on. I get the spell up.
I pull out the little half sack of poison paste. I could eat this.
Cyanide pill. I won't go to dinner. They can't make me.
Okay, hold on. I haven't entered it into roll 20 yet.
Okay.
So, I can make you look dead. Is dead good?
No, because I still might have to go out in public.
Well, just put your hood up.
That won't have... Do you see any other Kenku walking on big-ass fucking horns? A hood can only do so much.
Well,
Always remove them.
I
Just
mean,
saying.
I can try to put makeup on you. I don't really.
You're not messing with my feathers.
Okay, well, it's
I will
either...
literally eat this poison. I eat
No,
the remaining
no,
half bag
okay.
of poison.
Stop him.
Both of you make dexterity checks. Who's faster?
Jeez, he is.
We'll find out what rolls say. Yeah.
Just barely. Yeah, he's fast enough to throw it into his beak before you just grab the hand after it's already inside. You see him swallow it. Make a Constitution saving throw.
Is he okay? Do I need to cut off his horns?
You're fine. The poison tastes absolutely horrible and rancid. You can feel it kind of there, but it's just like it makes you feel nauseous for a moment and you queasy. But
Can I intentionally puke it back up into the bag then?
I mean, make a I'm just trying to think, like, if people want to make themselves throw up, you can either try sticking your finger in the back of your throat, or...
Essentially, yeah.
All right, sleight of
that'd
hand
be the
it.
idea. You got it.
DC's 10.
Alright, well, I'd have to roll on that one to get below
Oh, yeah,
that.
you're fine.
Actually,
As
that
you
one would
go
be
in there and you just, like, do what birds do, regurgitation, and you just, like... there's a nasty amount of acidic vomit, and Jin is just looking, going, and you see him just immediately snap a few times, and you can see that their silhouettes appear, and they start to scoop up this pile of vomit to try to take it away, to throw it
No,
away.
I was trying to put it in the bag. No, that is important prop.
Okay, I mean, you grab it and you
Rook,
But
you put it back in.
Hey, shut up. This smells awful. If I gag when she's there, she'll believe I'm sick. So long as I'm holding this.
I just want to say, we've seen some pretty disturbing things in our brief time together, but that was the most disgusting thing I have ever seen. I am truly horrified. Would you please just let me kill you?
Let me kill you.
No.
Your feathers will be perfect. I'll make sure no one touches them. It'll be just like you're sleeping and you can wake up.
That, or you can go on the date with Mrs. Dragon.
At least this way they won't be looking for you.
I feel like that's a bit dramatic. Is all.
And throwing in poison?
Bag!
It's a perfect prop.
You ate poison! Rook, that's
It
dramatic.
wouldn't kill me. It would just hurt a lot.
Do whatever you want. Both of you, do whatever you want. I'm done trying to corral you. I'm done trying to understand you. I'm just, when you need me to point my finger at something and shoot things at it, because I'm done. I'm out. I'm just gonna go to my room.
Don't bring me into it. I'm not here.
So yes, so you try to use the poison to at least assist in your deception as you eventually...
I will also actually go up to my room, but I'm taking the bag with me.
Okay, but do you wish... you see, you can stay inside the house at all times if you wish, or you can go out and greet the woman. It's up to you.
Oh, I'm not going to go out and greet her. I'm
Okay.
sick.
Alright, so as you stay in your room waiting for her to come to you, you do eventually hear knocking and conversation at the front of the door. Valindra, Varkesh, and Rook all being in their room. You hear footfalls as eventually, Rook, you lying in bed, I'm assuming that's where you're staying, you do see that
Pretty much.
Jin is just slowly opening the door going, Rook, we have a visitor. She wants to see how you're doing. As he kind of gets pushed back a little bit as a very elegant looking human female comes in with bright metallic hair and the clothing hugging her skin.
While she's coming in, I would be like to mimic, using my kinky mimicry, the sound of puking with my nose real close to the bag, and then look up and pretend to be absolutely miserable.
Okay, make a deception check with advantage since you're using your own memory as well as the actual disgusting... She's all right.
Okay.
She looks at you as she sees this and just goes, "Oh, you poor creature."
Yes, it's been a rough morning.
Indeed. I can send healers right away to cure you of this ailment if you'll allow me.
Oh, that's so fantastic. He's been terribly sick all morning. I've been so worried about him.
As you poke your head out. She does turn to look at you and goes,
Valindra's gone rogue.
I see that your other companion is not ill. How fortunate. Perhaps you
So
would like
far
to
it's just
accompany me in his place.
Oh, I wish I could, but I actually do have other obligations. With the owners of the Golden Lily, I made a vow to them. I intend to keep my vows.
Well, we can always invite them as well, my dear. It is a great honor to be extended an invitation into the Brass Dragon District.
Well,
I am
yes,
sure they
yes,
would
it
be
is.
all for it.
Indeed. However, the owners of the Golden Lily do have a business to run, and it was sort of a business meeting that I was going to with just me and them, so...
Ah, a private matter. I see.
Yes.
Perhaps you'll join us after you finish your business meeting.
We'll see what time I get done.
Make a persuasion check. You're doing pretty well. I'll give you advantage on this actually, because you're pretty good at dancing at the moment. 23. All right. So she nods and goes, "Very well. I shall leave his care in your hands, or would you like me to send someone to look at your friend?"
I'm just gonna look at Rook.
Oh, you're too kind, but I will be okay with time. I wouldn't want to trouble you.
Very well. We shall have your friend join us when she is free.
I'm sure she'll have a lovely time.
As she
Thank you
walks,
for coming to check on.
she nods and seems to walk away down the hall, and you can see that Jin is looking, making sure that she's gone. He shuts the door and looks at all of you as you eventually get back up. He goes like, "All right, none of you are leaving this house. Do you understand? You're all under house arrest for all I care. You are not going back out there.
No, but
I need those daggers.
No, not from one of you. Neither of you can be trusted to not get caught in that web again.
No, but I really did. I told the.
You can bring your apologies later on a letter. I can send that as your own. I'm sorry. Business comes up. You're fine. You can't meet them today.
I need those daggers.
What daggers?
The 10 daggers that prick of a servant made off with.
All right. I'll send someone out to get the delivery for you.
That'll work
Do
for me.
you have money?
Thank you. I hate having to pay for this twice, but yes.
All right. If you give me 10 gold, that should suffice.
Give him 10 gold.
Fine. I'll have someone of my own go and do this. Now, if you please. Relax. Enjoy your stay here. And don't go outside, as he just stomps back off to his own study.
You hear like 16 locks go on the bedroom doors.
He doesn't lock
more
you.
effective now that it's been covered in vomit.
But you do seem that for at least the moment, he is making sure that you don't accidentally get caught right now, especially since tomorrow is the day that you're supposed to basically almost go down in. So he does kind of keep a strict eye on you. If you want to sneak out, you can. You can try.
I'm good.
Knock on Rook's door.
I open it, kind of holding the bag away from my face. Garbage can, do you know where it is?
Just put it out in the hallway. I'm sure one of the invisible people will come get it. Hey,
That
you
sounds
wanna go
horribly
outside?
irresponsible. What?
You wanna go outside?
Why?
Well, I want to go to the Golden Lily. I feel kind of bad that we stole napkins from Sippy and kind of terrorized her, and her parents are kind of super proud of her, and I feel like I should make them more proud. I don't know.
Oh, we need an escort to get through the wall.
That's true. I bet if we leave a note for Gindrit, he would come find us.
But we need an escort to get through the walls. It still doesn't fix that problem.
We needed an escort to get out of the walls?
Yes.
Damn it! Well, never mind.
Okay. So, you each spend your own time doing whatever you can in the house. Valindra, you can go back to the study and research if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the study and research, I guess, and I'll ask Gindrit for help.
Would you like some help?
Please.
All right.
Can't
Okay.
find anything.
With the power of 3, you divide the task at hand. You can make an investigation check with advantage.
Can I make my own investigation check?
I mean, if you'd like to independently, sure.
Yes, please!
Okay. All right.
It's only an 8 on dice, so it's not great.
Okay. With your own split investigation as Varkesh keeps to himself and you all spend your own day doing what you can, you do find a few bits of research that do recall moments regarding the Age of Reckoning. They do recount the great battle that did occur in front of Alniel. They do have mention of the Black Lich himself, and there's it's more of a glorified story as it seems to recount it, and you see that the creature was brought up to the height of the battle as one hero, the lady, the White Light, Cylindra. She is the one who was able to vanquish him in a burst of brilliant white where nothing was left of either of them in the air, and all the undead monstrosities that were around them, raised by him, fell to ash and bone, as many of the other independent creatures ran in fright as suddenly their horde was broken. It talks mostly about the amazing... It's a very almost drama play-like kind of recount of you just kind of reading it, and it's a bit more of a flourish, not much in terms of fact. That's what you can get from the library here.
And during this time, as they both leave to go to the study, I will take I will make a makeshift name tag, put it around one of the things I've made, and I will sneak into Valindra's room and hide them under her bed.
Okay.
I hate this group.
All right.
I think it's great.
So you do this as they're doing this throughout the day, and everyone retires for the evening. But yes, you all sleep well and soundly.
Including me?
Nothing.
Oh, so what happens is we've all gone to bed, right?
Yes.
Okay. After I've transitioned and snuck into Valindra's room and hid these items, I will then proceed downstairs, make it upon myself to actually have something to eat, maybe some idle conversation. But then as everyone goes up to bed, I'll make sure that I'm the last one going up. And I will say, "Good night, everyone. I will see you all in the morning. Rosen. Rosen, everybody." And then I will go and close my door.
Okay.
Rosen? Do I recognize that word from anything?
What are the languages you speak?
Elvish, Celestial, Common, and Infernal.
No.
Oh, they speak Common, Thieves, Scant, Infernal, and Draconic.
You recognize the word, Rook.
What's he saying?
He says, awaken.
Awaken what, Bardash?
Oh, it's
I've spoken back in Draconic.
Oh, okay, in Draconic.
It's just a little piece of a kind of like good night thing. It's like good night until you wake in the morning. Kind of deal.
Insight check that.
Sure. You can deception check that, Varkash. Can't hear you at the moment. Can't hear you. Nope, can't hear you. Oops.
No.
Temporarily gone offline. I'm sure he'll be back.
I think he unplugged his camera one instead of the mic one. Still can't hear you.
Still both plugged in.
Oh, there you go. I can hear you now.
There we go. But yes, so I rolled a 17.
Yes. Can you turn on your camera again?
Wait, my camera's off?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, for the Lord and Bennett.
Also, I rolled a 23, so...
Yeah. You get the sense he's lying. There's no real truth behind his words.
Still in Draconic, you're lying, but I'm curious to see why, so I'm going to be quiet about it. And then I'll just go back to my room.
That's not fair. You guys can't just talk in a secret language that I don't understand.
Well, it wasn't a secret language, it was just a... Well, he was speaking Draconic, and I happened to speak some Draconic, and I thought it would be kind of cool to have a short, good night ritual speech with them. Well, as he said, that was part of
What
this.
did you guys say?
Well, he said...
Can't hear you.
Never mind. Actually, I don't care. And I'm going to close the door. Go to bed.
All right. Yeah. Scott, try talking. Nope.
Wow.
Very
Now we can.
No, no,
Now we
no,
can.
okay.
Either you're too far away or you're too soft when you speak, and the mic isn't
No.
picking you up.
I'm not soft when I speak in general.
Now you're not.
There
We
you
can
go.
hear you.
Now you can hear me.
Yeah. You just have to be closer to the mic.
Fucking really, do I need to be closer to the mic?
Can't hear you.
What the fuck?
Now we can hear you. Now we can hear you. You just gotta.
You're winding me up.
No, I'm telling you in all honesty. You have to just direct it.
My technology. I'm literally having to shout now. My technology is failing me.
Yeah, but we can hear that. So go ahead.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, we heard that.
Is that it? Is that
going.
working?
Yeah.
So, what did we just say? I just totally lost track during my whole technological fail.
Valindra was gonna figure out what you guys were talking about, but then she was like, I don't care, and closed the door.
Okay.
After you had responded in Draconic, I just said, you're lying, but I'm curious to see what happens, so I'll be quiet about it.
Okay.
And then went to bed.
So she went to her room.
And I will go to my bed.
All right. So what are the two? You can describe the beginning, and I'll continue on afterwards because I don't know which ones you made.
Actually, I will just quickly ping that to you. And
God, I'm so nervous.
This is gonna be fun.
Okay. So, Valindra, as you settle down for the night, make a perception check.
Do-do-do. This will go very well. Do-do-do. Oh, it's a 19. That's pretty good.
Okay. As you get to settle in your room and you just kind of start going about your business, you do hear tiny chiming. It's like a very little, like, dainty noise, almost like wind chimes being blown in the wind. Very soft, very faint, and the slight, like, sound of things moving on wood.
Can I tell where it's coming from?
Seems to be coming from under the bed.
I'm gonna hold Winnie.
Okay.
Yeah,
As-
and I'm gonna prepare Eldritch Blast to shoot something just like she is.
Okay. As you do that and wait for a moment, you can see two bejeweled figurines walking out, each of them embedded with what seems to be a fire of magical light as they illuminate themselves, becoming almost like sparkling rainbows as they have the light catching the gems that encrust their entire form. You can see what appears to be a small-looking fox made of gold and silver, kind of distinguishing the color pattern with the golden kind of furring and a silvering underneath, as well as what appears to be a diamond tip at the tail to give a white tuft, and citrine eyes. The creature looks around and continues to chime as if like talking. There seems to be a conversation or dialogue that it's saying, and it's looking around. The second one appears to be a Pegasus, walking on all fours with brilliant wings spread wide and moving about as it folds and tucks them around. You can see that it is made of silver, with diamond-tipped feathers and sapphire eyes. Each of these do have a note tied around them. It's kind of hard to read from this distance, though.
I'm gonna use Mage Hand to go get the note.
Okay, the note is, like, just around this. You just kind of quickly pull it up, and they do seem to magically chime and look about at you at this happening, but they don't seem threatening, and you pick up 1 and 2 notes, and you bring them to yourself?
Yeah.
Alright. The notes say what, Barkesh?
note says, Valindra, you are my friend. So one of these poor little creatures needs a home. You can pick one. Feel bad, man.
Oh.
I can just pick one.
I've only managed to make 2 thus far.
That's so cute.
I'm gonna let Winnie choose. I'm gonna put Winnie down, and I'm gonna be like, okay,
She
you want
just
a
goes
fox
and mauls
friend,
them.
or do you want a Pegasus friend?
Roll a d2 or a d4. 1 and 2 will go for the fox, 3 and 4 for the Pegasus, or 1 fox, 2 Pegasus. Pegasus it is. So you see Winnie is more curious about the Pegasus.
Yeah, I already have a fox. I don't need another one. I will pick up the Pegasus.
Alright, as you put your hand down for it, the creature seems attentive to you. It's looking around, and it does continue to chime. It seems like a tiny little metallic chinging noise as it looks up at you.
Well, I can't.
The fox does move around and look about a bit, independently.
I feel so bad for the fox.
Winnie's
I'm
a
gonna
little
pick up the fox,
curious.
too.
Okay. Yeah, you pick up the fox and you hold it. They both are walking around in your hand a little bit before the fox sits and looks at you. The Pegasus still stands on all fours.
I'm just gonna put them on my nightstand.
They continue to chime at you. There's this constant little ringing, this little kind of dialogue that they seem to exhibit to you.
I'm gonna sleep on it.
Okay. So as you go to bed, everyone wakes up the next morning. Valindra, the two animated figurines are next to you in the bed. And when you wake up and stare at them, they come back and they start chiming again at you.
Okay, you guys are adorable and cute, but like, do you ever stop chiming, or is this
The
gonna be
chiming
a
stops.
Oh, you do. Okay. What else can you do?
They continue to chime.
Well,
Okay.
the Pegasus can fly.
Yeah, I was gonna see if the Pegasus can fly. Actually.
What do you say command words?
Yeah, I'm like, fly. Point to the Pegasus.
The Pegasus begins to flap, and as it does, the inner light inside of its body, the core of a gem that has seemed to be infused with some magic, begins to glow heavily as the Pegasus lifts and begins to hover, and the wings pretend to flap, but you can see there is something else that is allowing it to move. So it's more like it's just doing it for show.
Ooh. I'm just gonna watch it, and then I will put the fox on the ground, and I'll say, "Okay, come on, time for breakfast." And I'll walk down.
All right, they'll walk with the fox will walk with you, and the Pegasus will continue to hover, fly.
I will stop at Varkesh's door though,
Okay.
and I will knock on it.
I will open the door and I will look like 10 shades of shag shit.
Oh, you look wonderful this morning, Varkesh. Yep, that's about how good you look. I just wanted to,
Clumps against the door frame.
oh, okay. I just want to say thank you. I guess is all. Also, I don't know which one. So which one do you want back? Because they're both. I can't. Which one do you want back?
Which one did you pick?
They're both so cute. One of them's like a little Winnie. It's like a littler Winnie. But then the other one is a Pegasus, and it can fly. And I can't choose. And I need you to choose for me. Just take one of them back.
Which one's nearest?
Make an insight check to see if you can see which one she has a little bit more of an... She seems to be kind of admiring the Pegasus a little more.
Okay, then I will hold my hand out and have the fox come to me and climb on my hand. And I will recite its activation and turn it off and put it in my bag.
Just make sure.
Okay, when you say that, you are saying that in the vicinity of the Pegasus.
Yes.
Alright, so as you do say that, you do see that he says the same word, and the Pegasus begins to kind of slowly drift down.
Ooh, I catch him.
And he catches in your hand, and then you see it just freeze in place and doesn't move.
Ta-da!
Thank you, Varkesh.
You're welcome. This was my project. There are many more to come. But
You're very talented. These are amazing.
thank you. But I thought I would at least let you pick one of the two that I've made thus far, seeing as you are mad with me.
I wasn't mad with. I wasn't mad with you.
Oh, then I'll take the Pegasus back then.
No. I just.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry if I seemed upset.
It's fine. I get that a lot, believe it. It's hard to believe, but I do get that a lot.
It is hard to believe. You're such a likable fellow.
I know, right?
Yep, okay.
Breakfast time!
Alright.
Breakfast time.
So you both head down along with Rook. You do see that they are walking with a bit more of a pep to the step. But as you do get down there, Jin is waiting for all of you at around the breakfast buffet area, letting you all pick your assortment of foods that you would like to eat. But he does look at all of you, just anticipating and waiting until you each had your fill, and just eyeing you all until each of you has satisfied your stomachs? And he kind of nods and goes, right. Are you three ready?
Oh, Jim.
Gin.
It's what I said, Jim. Are we going to ever get by? Never mind. I will reach into my bag and I will place the gold and silver fox with the diamond tipped tail right in front of him on the table and go, as promised, here's your payment.
He looks down at it and goes, well, that's a mighty fine piece of craftsmanship there, but does it work?
Oh, Rosen.
All right, as you say that, also within the vicinity of the Pegasus, they both come to life. As you do see that the fox chimes and moves around and looks about, you see Jin just kind of looking at it for a moment going, oh, lad, you were able to do it! As he once more just picks up the fox and just kind of looks at it and begins to look at it for a moment, see it chime, and he begins to chime back to it.
At this point, I am not paying attention. I am now muzzle deep snoring in a plate of scrambled eggs.
You should have, all right. But yes, you do see that he is fascinated with it and goes, so, how many more do you have left?
Why do I taste eggs? What, we agreed on a singular payment, remember?
This will be more than fine for my own, but I was curious just... You asked for quite a lot of gems, and these don't really seem to hold much for the gem count. I'm curious as to...
There'll be a couple of more. I've given one to Verlindra as a gift, but there will be a couple of more. It's you got to remember, you didn't believe I could do it, and at some point I didn't believe I could do it either. So it was a very lucky beginner's luck type deal. So quite a lot of components were used in their creation.
Well, I should say, you used actually one of my arcane stones, and I'm assuming you must have broke it apart in order to make it fit into these small figurines.
Pretty much.
So how many shards are left?
Let's see. 8 shards.
8. Well, I look forward to seeing what other creatures you can amass with this. As he takes the fox, and you see him bring it up to his mouth, and he whispers the same word that you said.
I was going to eat it.
He whispers it just to this one, and you see the fox go still as he takes it and puts it in his pocket. Right.
I hope it brings you some major standing increase in Dragon Society.
Oh, you can be sure that this will get many a jealous eye to gaze my way. I can probably get a few invitations just to show him off, as he kind of pats it a little bit. But the pleasantries aside, we have a small window of opening for us to do this. We have about, I'd say, an hour before it starts. Are you all ready?
Yes.
And you, Kenku?
Yes, we've all Rosen gotten up and ready to go.
As you say that, he just kind of like looks down his pocket and goes once more to whisper, and you see it stills a little bit. However, when he says that aloud, your Pegasus... No,
I catch it.
you can catch him, but the Pegasus is now unanimated at the moment. Couldn't hear it, that's right.
I've now realized what I have done.
But yes, you take the Pegasus back and keep it safe. As he leads you deeper into the house, this time you were initially in only the humanoid segment. Now you start to enter what appears to be the grander part. As you enter inside, you can see that there is a large open space, massively built, with a huge long corridor leading out to what you see is like windows made of almost like stained glass leading light into the room. And you can see that there are sets of cushions and wood and just other these like nice like places to lounge in, massively built for dragon sizes. You can see that there's like a kind of a almost like a chaise on the side made of wood that looks to be able to house a dragon if it wanted to lounge on its side a bit. And you can see that there's large tapestries and rugs decorating the interior. But he goes to one of the rugs, and you see him do 3 snaps, and 3 more silhouettes of force appear before suddenly the rug lifts up and pulls back, and you can see a large hole in the middle. He goes, right, now then, if you keep close to me, it won't be long, but we will have to travel underground for a while. Are either of you afraid of the dark?
I can see fine.
Perhaps you might want to carry some light then with you.
Oh! I'll take out my Pegasus. Roast in. Fly. And
It leaves a very, very dull glow light. Very small, but enough to at least illuminate itself. And it does lead down if you tell it to lead.
Yeah.
Alright. You tell the Pegasus to
Barkesh,
lead.
could I get my rapier back from you? If we're going to be
Good point. I'm terribly sorry. And I reach into my bag of holding and I pull out a fully clean, polished, resharpened rapier. And what you'll see is, because I would have done this during my processing, the fuller has been inlaid with silver. And I just hand it to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Silver rapier, then?
He made you a silver rapier.
Sweet.
But yes, as you all re-equip yourselves, you begin to head down into the depths of the tunnel. You venture deep inside this cold dirt, almost like a winding spiral that seems to move and look for fresh, soft dirt as it kind of begins to slowly descend deeper and deeper. Eventually, you find that it goes all the way to a dead end. After spending about 40 minutes or so traveling there, you see that he puts a hand up for all of you to wait. He goes, "All right, if you don't mind, in a few moments, I'll open the passageway for you to go through. You have at least 3 hours. You might have 4, but I wouldn't want to press it too much. So be wary. Now, anything you find inside, bring it back. You can put it away in any bags that you have if you can, but remember, it's not necessarily about the size or
So
the
it's about the
splendor.
size.
It's not about size or splendor sometimes. Some of the most rare treasures have majesty in their creativity and their exquisiteness. So be on the lookout for anything that you can find. Now, stand back." And you see him move
I step forward.
He kind of looks at you and goes, "Stand back."
Oh, right, back. I get right.
Right. And you see
Takes the
him concentrate for a moment. As he pushes his hands wide, you see the dirt begin to rumble a bit. And it pushes apart. And you can see what appears to be a chamber with faint glowing orbs lighting the passageway. He looks back at you. "All right, off you go."
Side.
I jump in.
All right. You go inside the labyrinth. As you enter in there, you can see the hallway before you opens up into what appears to be a nicely, almost kind of worked tile earth. You can see that it is completely made of stone and dirt, but it's almost been like compressed down to make these structured shapes. You can see tile inlays, slight, almost kind of, it's like the faux surface that you see on buildings and structures, where it's just external look, but it doesn't seem to be deep. The earth itself is still holding things up. But you can see that it is leading forward deeper inside.
Okay. I'm going to take one of my 2 personal daggers and kind of like carve a little arrow pointing in the opposite direction from whichever way we decide to walk.
Oh, I was so going to do that myself.
Nice.
So you put what in front of you?
I'm going to carve a little arrow pointing back towards the
Right.
Entrance in the
Okay.
dirt.
The Pegasus is still in front of you, a very faint glow. It doesn't seem to need to illuminate much, as you can see that there are these, what appear to be, as you look at them for a moment, little bits of earth that have been pushed out with tiny little holes in them, and there seems to be a flickering flame in the center, but it gives off no heat. It just seems to be a constant light that goes throughout the hall, and it looks to bend to the left.
Okay. I will put my hood up and start walking down that way, trying to stay quiet.
Okay.
I will stay to the very, very back of the party.
All right. You stay to
Let
the
Rook
back.
kind of scout ahead a little bit, but I'm going to put Winnie on its head and occasionally check in.
Okay. So, go ahead and make a stealth check with advantage as you begin to descend deeper into the cold catacomb.
20.
Oh.
All right, you feel very quiet.
Vanishes from existence.
The earth is soft. The ground is mostly dirt. It doesn't seem to be stone, so there's no echo.
Excellent. Alright, so should I move my character then?
Mm-hmm. Go right ahead. I'll be explaining to the viewers as you go about, for you guys will be maneuvering at your own leisure. The hallway continues down as you see it lead to a wider expanse in the distance. You notice that there is a slight tiering of platforms, as you can see that some of the hall has been raised up with steps and stairs, and there are pillars of what appears to be heavy dirt and stone that have been embedded in the rock and have been used as supports to keep what appears to be the majority of this structure aloft, so it doesn't cave in.
Okay. And while I'm walking, I would like to keep an eye out for any traps, tripwires, or anything that might indicate our presence in the vault.
Make a perception check.
19.
Alright, you keep an eye out for any trap. Nothing catches your eye.
Sounds good.
You do see what appears to be a platform that's about 5 feet above you, but a set of stairs leading up to it. As your party members continue down the hall, you do feel the chill in the air. There is a stillness and a very quiet, almost kind of eerie sense that there's no sound coming from anyone. Varkesh, you are the only one that does seem to make much noise, but even it is muffled. It is a very sound-absorbing kind of room.
Sounds like my ideal summer home.
Rook, as you go into the corner, you can see that there's a pedestal there. It almost looks like it's wanting to house something, a trophy or some kind of treasure, but it seems to be empty. Nothing seems
I
to
want
be
to walk up to it and kind of like wave my hand over the top of it anyway. See if there's anything that I can feel.
air.
Okay.
Just nothing.
Curiously satisfied.
Yeah. You do see the doorway leading down to another hallway splits in two, heading both to the right, one closer and one further away from you. Alright. You continue down the hall to the furthest corridor, taking the right as you continue down. Varkesh and Valindra following a good distance, but since you are ahead of the pack and Valindra is looking through Winnie, Valindra and Rook can both make perception checks as you make your way down.
21.
Alright. Okay, Rook, you hear this first. There's a sound, almost kind of like a guttural snarl. It sounds like a creature, and you hear a deep rumbling, like a lion's roar or a purr just being kept in a chest. Deep and quiet, but you're able to pick it up.
Okay. Confident that I'm being sneaky enough, I'd like to move up to the corner and take a peek around.
Okay. As you look around, the corner leads to two other passageways, one to the right and one to the left.
Can I determine which one it kind of sounds like the...
The one to the right seems to have the sound of this rumbling.
Okay. I'll go around to the left first then.
You enter a long corridor built with this almost shallow path that leads up to a set of stairs. Columns mirror each side on the right as another higher tier about 10 feet above off to your side seems to kind of keep you trapped in this almost river-like passage leading to the back. And you can see that strewn about each of these pillars there seems to be carvings of creatures just made into stone wrapped around the pillars, keeping themselves in place. Decorative, artistic in a way.
Varkesh will go the opposite direction because as he rounds the corner, he loses sight of them.
Okay.
Oh.
So Varkesh, you look around and you see as you enter in there a large form, a creature with massive wings and a large lion-like head. But as the face turns, you see a human-like visage with sharp pointed teeth, smiling around and looking about, snarling and glaring, angered.
I
You
just
also
have to go
see-
and do something different.
You also see, though, it is behind a cage. On the platform it is at, there are bars of metal all around it that seem to keep it enclosed. And you see that as it looks at you, it snarls. Free me.
Okay.
All right.
Wait a minute. You don't sound very friendly. Why should I free you?
No beast should be caged. Free me.
The good dragon in me says yes, but the other good dragon in me says fuck no. But then the bad dragon in me says yes, but then the other bad dragon in me says fuck yes.
Do we hear this exchange?
Yeah.
You'll have to make a perception check because the sound is softened in the dirt.
Okay.
There's no way for it to echo easily. Rook, you barely pick up that Varkesh is talking. He seems to be saying something and having a conversation. It could be with Valindra, but you turn and
What?
see Valindra just standing behind you.
What?
So,
Where's
Mr.
Rakesh?
Lion Thingy-Majig, why are you in a cage?
For amusement.
Do
Free
you
me.
dance?
No. Free me.
You're not very good at entertainment if you don't dance.
Free me! As you see him charge the cage doors, but as he touches it, you see that they vibrate a little bit, and he recoils back.
Oh, hello you two. I've made a new friend.
It's not friendly, Varkesh. Let's go.
Rook, you are my friend, but I am no horse. I may be the size of one, but I am no horse.
Sorry, that was not intended to be like a way to call
I know
Snappy,
what
snappy,
you
you
meant.
know?
I know what you meant. But I'm contemplating freeing this poor creature.
He did.
Why?
This.
Well, he's all caged up and he doesn't seem too happy.
Free me.
I look around. Does it look like the creature would even fit through the doorway that we're currently standing in?
The creature could push its way through the corridors, yes.
Well, I see that it could potentially fit through here, but also I look to the creature and I'm like, what's in it for us?
Good deeds reward themselves.
Well,
Free me.
no offense, my friend. Though you do have wings and a lion's body, you do look like you have the face of a slapped ass. You don't look honestly too friendly. So, good deed or not, I mean, everybody loves doing good deeds, but everyone likes getting a bit of cheddar in the end.
I'll tell you a secret.
Ooh, secrets are good. I like secrets. Tell me a secret.
Free me first.
No, tell me a secret, and then I will free you, and then you can tell me the other secret.
No. Free me now.
I don't think this guy understands how negotiations work.
Varkesh, we don't have a ton of time to waste here. I think we should go.
You are probably right, Rook. Ugly lion thing. I promise I will free you when we get back, but we are kind of on a schedule at the moment.
Actually, that sounds like a lovely idea.
He looks
Good
back
way
at
to
you with a bit of
sow
a
some chaos.
snarl. Goes, don't keep me waiting.
Oh, we won't. I'm not that rude. But you may need to... Do you have a paper bag in there?
He just sneers at you, closing his eyes a little bit.
I'll take that as a no. I will see if I can find a paper bag big enough for that potato-sized head of yours. I will be back soon. Let us go, chums.
Okay.
All right.
I made a
That was
friend, Valindra.
incredible.
Did you see that? I made a friend.
Yeah.
Just saying this as I'm following Valindra like it's the best thing ever.
Very good at making friends.
You do
Damn
once
right I am.
more come into the same corridor that seems to have that trench-like hall.
To make sure I keep my eyes on Varkesh at all times.
And still keeping an eye out for any traps along the way as well.
Nothing
Especially
looks
between these
trapped to you.
pillars.
From what you can see, this place is quiet and calm. The pillars are made of more sturdy stone-like dirt that seems to be things that you find embedded in the ground that have just been made to kind of support. And you can see that on them there are these carvings.
Ooh, what are the carvings?
They look a little bit like bugs. Slightly odd-looking creatures that seem to kind of stick around. the
I would like
columns.
to actually take a piece of paper and make a little rubbing of one of them.
Well, it's actually like a large sculpture relief. It's like a big
Okay.
sculpture on the round it. That's kind of thing.
Well, never mind on that then.
Okay,
I'll just have to remember that for later.
sure.
Anyway.
Finger painting for later.
You do see as you reach the top what appears to be two pairs of lion-like individuals, and you can see that they're polished almost like onyx in nature. And at the center, between the pair of them, is a large, brilliant gem, massive in size, about the size of an ostrich egg, huge, gleaming, cut with brilliance. The shine from the Pegasus that was kind of leading ahead of you because it wasn't told to sue otherwise has basically brought it to a more shimmering light. As you can see, it catches and glimmers.
I know exactly what that is. That's mine. So if you'll excuse me.
Oh, no, hold on.
Okay.
What? It's a shiny.
Yes, it's a very big shiny, and I feel like you can't just walk in and take it.
I would like to look over the two statues and see if there's anything that might indicate they're magical in nature.
Make an investigation check. There's nothing magical about these two statues. They seem plain, carved nicely, very solid. There's no, like, freedom in the form. It's very Egyptian, in a sense, very cubed and close.
Okay. Do they strike me as anything with particular, like, historical significance or anything of the sort?
Seems to be just a unique style. You haven't seen this kind of display before.
As a trained gem cutter and a connoisseur of shiny things, can I determine what kind of gem that is?
Do you wish to go up closer to it?
Just probably no further than what they are now currently.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check.
A perception. 15.
Hard to tell. It could be...
like fuck it is.
It could be an amethyst. It could be a different off color of another gem. The closest... You might just assume amethyst. Amethyst is the closest thing you could probably guess at this distance.
How big is it roughly?
Ostrich egg sized. Not that big.
Oh shit, that's an expensive gem.
Mm-hmm.
Varkesh is actually drooling currently. Oh my god, that's a really
Jen
big
did
gem.
say that it doesn't necessarily the shiny things that matter, but that looks like something we could stuff in a bag.
Well, yeah, but does it look... I want to see if it has any magic properties, or try to see if it has any magic properties. I just...
I'll make an investigation check.
Okay. Well, first let's...
There are no arcane writings. There's no trace of what you could assume might be a magical effect. No sigil or anything around it or nearby it.
I mean, surely we can't just walk up and grab it.
Is anything there set on a pressure plate of any sort? Any tripwires? Anything like that?
Doesn't seem to have a tripwire. No
I walk
pressure
up
plate.
and grab it.
Oh, good.
Okay. You pick it up and you grab it. And it is a hefty gem. Large, like an ostrich egg.
Oh, fuck me sideways with a wooden spoon. This thing's huge.
Well, I was about to say it's safe to walk over there, but I guess you got that.
And I will pocket the monstrous size Emperor's fortune's worth of an amethyst into my bag of holding.
And how large are the two statues?
The statues are bigger than Varkesh. They're long and tall, but they're lying on their bellies in a sense, so you kind of get like it's a rectangle with a bit of a head prop.
Do they look expensive?
They look to be made of like a solid onyx.
I'm betting if we could drop this off at the entrance there, Jin might be able to get these out. Do you think the two of us could lift one of these, Varkesh?
We, all of us together, we could possibly move one.
Valindra,
That'll take quite a bit of time, though.
Valindra, make a perception check for me.
That's
Okay.
okay.
You hear this distinctively as Varkesh has been talking and moving about, and you've basically just been casually waiting for a bit. You hear a tiny, tiny buzzing noise. Very faint. It's very soft and quiet, but as you look around at the pillars for a second, you pause and look. One of the sculptures is moving slightly,
Guys, we gotta go.
and
we gotta go.
as you see it, it begins to tilt its head, and you see a few others begin to look. Antenna pulling out
Put it back.
and going around, and they see
Wait.
both of you. And that's where we're going to end it tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I got a big ostrich egg shiny thing. I'm rich. I'm very rich.
I mean, if we can survive to get it out.
Yeah, true.
But yes, you do seem to have the attention of something, but you have successfully gathered one amethyst ostrich-sized egg.
Cannot
gem.
be good. It really cannot be good. It has antenna, so therefore it's icky, and we need to kill it.
I'm really hoping that you actually just picked up like a control mechanism for it. That'd be really cool.
Say, do not hurt us. Obey the shiny. Do not hurt us. That was a fun
Oh, that was awesome. Thanks,
Yeah.
AJ.
Yeah, good. And yeah, congratulations for successfully pulling off a sick rook, and dancing around the invitation.
I mean, I could have just given you contagion.
I could have just made it look like you were dead because the servant's probably going to come back the next day and see how we're doing.
If we're not there the next day, we don't have to worry about it.
Come back
That's a problem for tomorrow. That's a tomorrow problem.
All I'm saying is, if you're dead, they won't come looking for you again.
Yeah,
Silver
so they'll
lining.
come looking for you to invite you to a feast to mourn my passing.
Oh, Valkesh at a high stakes dinner pie.
Oh god.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
But
okay.
yes.
It'd be boob and pet kissings all day.
No.
I need you to go.
Thank you all, guys, for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the session for tonight. Remember, we do this every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And don't forget, as you stay here and watch with us, you accumulate points, Hoda points and loyalty points that can be spent on the Tuesday game that we have here. Same channel, again, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. And if you will be there, we enjoy seeing you, of course, Tuesdays and Sundays. Other than that, I hope you all have a splendid week, and we shall see you again soon. Bye,
Good night,
everyone.
Have a good
Hey,
one.
guys.